Welcome, everyone.
Hey, everybody. This is the Enlightened Goal Setting webinar Coach-A-THON.
Woohoo!
We've never really done anything like this, but man, I'm excited about essentially getting you deeply connected to the idea that you could live your most cherished experience on a regular basis, that you could be in the crap of life, the destruction of life, the negativity of life. You can have all the people in your world just be normal people, and you can be walking around mostly in a state of inspiration, joy, certainty, confidence, love. Doesn't mean it's going to be there all the time, okay? I think that spiritual marketing is a little bit misleading. Like, once you're enlightened, you'll be there all the time. Yeah, that maybe, but you do have a body, and your body is very volatile. It's going up and down like this, and the world is volatile. The question becomes, how do you start to optimize in the direction of more joy, more peace, more fun, more enthusiasm, more excitement, more love, whatever it is that you have going on? So let me kind of give you the framework of how this is going to go today. We have Susan Sly coming on as a special guest. She's going to be here in 1 hour. So if you came here to see Susan and you want to pause at any time during the time that we're talking, do that. Just, go do your thing, go to the bathroom, go get a drink, go watch a little TV. I don't know. But then top of the hour, we have Susan coming in. Then in 90 minutes, we have Thach coming on. Then in 2 hours, we have Jamil coming on. Then in 2.5 hours, we have Karen coming on. And each of them have their own take, their own spin, their own twist on this process. Again, you're not obligated to stay here for any of it, right? You can just be here for the time that I'm answering questions and then eject yourself when Susan gets on, or you can pause and just let it go in the background if you want to do that. That's fine. Come back when one of your favorites is going to be on. Totally open. But will you write down this email address, please? Will you write down mferry, so it's just my initial and my last name, mferry at matthewferry.com, mferry at matthewferry.com. Probably the best place to submit a written question is going to be at mferry at matthewferry.com. Best place for written questions. We've already been getting questions in there, so we're gonna deal with that as well. So thank you for those of you who wanted to skip the line apparently and get yourself in there. Then secondarily, you can put the written questions in chat. But Kristen and I find that the chat it gets all nutty, right? And so like we may lose it. It may be like 15 lines up because other people are putting stuff in there. So it's a little more arduous. Written questions, mferry at matthewferry.com. Then if you want to just get in and ask a question face to face, then, what's the button?
Well, there's two. So there's a raise hand, and then there's putting a Q&A, a question into the Q&A. That works too. So we have lots of options.
Yeah. So I think if you press the Q&A button, we can bring you in and talk to you personally. So, and we're happy to do that. And, that's kind of the fun of doing it in this way. All right. So let's just set an intention. The intention of this session is that you feel inspired, energized, lit up, excited about changing the way that you set goals so that you begin to experience peace, fun, joy, energy, happiness, excitement, creativity now, not someday in the future once it all changes. Now. So that's the intention of this session. And so let's start with anybody who, it looks like we already have some people in the Q&A over there. Kristen will be managing that, and then I'll be blabbing. Again, we've got one hour of just me. Then in 90 minutes, we have Susan. Then in 2 hours, Thach, and then 2.5 hours, Jamil, or 2 hours, Jamil, and then on and on and on. Karen at the very end. Hey, hi. What do we got? What do we got?
Let me just jump in with a little bit of housekeeping. So first of all, welcome everybody. This is Kristen Ferry. We're thrilled you're here. We're going to have a lot of fun here today. And really, don't be shy. We've got some great questions. But before we jump into that, we have a little bit of housekeeping. So number one is we have a question, will the recording be made available? And the answer is We don't know. We haven't
Maybe.
decided. We haven't even talked about it yet. So it's a great question, and stay tuned. Then the second question is, when Matthew is heard speaking, we have two folks who say they can only hear you, Matthew, out of the left side of your headphone, but I'm coming through in stereo.
That's right. And that is a little bit of a quirky component of Zoom. And I apologize, but I want to sound good. And this microphone sounds terrific, but it goes into my professional recording box, which is a mono signal, and Zoom hasn't gotten their act together yet to convert that into a stereo signal. So for now, you get just one ear. Dun, dun, dun.
All right. And then to Tom, who said I look amazing, that I'm glowing. Thank you. I will tell you, the physical appearance is a representation of what's going on in between my ears. And just as in full disclosure, I was using these techniques of the Enlightened Goal Setting process 48 hours ago when I was having a little mini breakdown, this is not going the way that I wanted to. And I had to really get out my skill set again. So thank you for the compliment. I will say that the outward glow is indicative of what's going on the inside. So thank you for acknowledging that. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So,
and
all right.
It's actually pretty common for us. Our clients have leaned towards looking better, getting thinner, becoming more beautiful, more handsome, more glowing, because the truth is, that stuff really radiates from the inside out.
Yep. It really, really, really does.
Yep.
So, all right, that's the housekeeping that we've got. Let's jump in. I know we've got some questions. Do you want to take this first one?
Yeah, we do. You just throw them out. mferry@matthewferry.com for the full written ones, okay? Like if you got a little diatribe that you want to write down, but you don't want to get on camera.
Yeah, so here we go. So, okay, it says, what if I really do need to achieve the goal? Okay, I got it. So like the goal is important. I have to, Matthew. I've got to do it.
Yeah.
Like it really is a matter of survival. Like if I don't do it, my life won't work. How does the Enlightened Goal Setting process work in that situation? Great question.
It works perfectly. So first of all, the Enlightened Goal Setting process doesn't have you stop doing the fundamental things in your life. You continue to do those fundamental things. But what happens is the Enlightened Goal Setting process says, what's important about this particular survival-based activity? Well, I need to pay my bills. Well, how is paying my bills important to me? Well, I want to be able to X, Y, and Z. Well, ultimately, what will all of this do for you? You get to this place where you go like, well, really, what do I want? I just want to feel like confident and certain.
Mm-hmm.
I want to feel confident that I can, live a good life, and I want to feel certain about that. So the Enlightened Goal Setting process is really about taking the fundamental things that you're already doing and then transforming the contextual framework. So what happens is there are things that you have to do to live, and you got to pay taxes, and you got to get out there and hustle every day, and you got to make sure that you are bringing money in for your family, et cetera, et cetera. Like those things are real. You got to make sure that the kids are fed and that they're getting educated and blah, 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 all that stuff. The question is, what's the experience of doing it? You can be in the traditional state, which is I'm going to resist it, hoping that I can withstand it long enough to transform it, which makes you old faster, makes you sick, it causes you a lot of stress, it degrades you. Or you can do it the new way. And the new way is not a new way for everybody, a new way for you. New way is to optimize your inner state. So you take part of your focus. So let's say you have 100% focus on kicking ass over here. Then what you do is you take a little sliver of that focus and you begin to put it on cleaning up the inner state of perspective and context about the world. You start to focus on feeling the thing that you want now, and then you just watch it permeate. Everything that you do starts to become more productive, more successful, more effective. You're going to make more money in your enlightened state than you will in your survival state. Now, that's not true for everybody, so don't listen to me like enlightenment is the way to make money. It's not. enlightenment is the way to feel like all is well, to feel confident and certain inside of your body. For someone like you, that's really important. Really important. And then you take that feeling and you apply it to everything you do. Holy shit. It's like your productivity just goes through the roof.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if I answered it exactly, but
well, I want to jump in and add a little bit to that, because what you said really, really resonated with me. I was one of those people who in my, I would say late 20s into early 30s was a driver, such that I got sick. And this is what you're talking about that, like, you will drive yourself with that survival based, I have to pay the bills, I have to do this, I have to do that, you will get sick. And I am a living, breathing example of what happens. I was diagnosed with Graves' disease at the age of 32 and told that I'd be sick for the rest of my life, which was really a startling thing to be told as a single go-getter woman who had been immersed in personal development. It was doing all the things that I was supposed to be doing, and doing the goal setting and doing the affirmations and I had the altar and I had the whole shebang. And what I ultimately discovered is what you're pointing to, Matthew, which is I got so sick, I didn't have a choice but to surrender into taking effective action that wasn't driven by survival, but was focused on my thriving and my well-being. Like, I got so slapped physically that I had to focus on my well-being. And I share that story only, and there's lots of shades and depths to the whole experience that I went through that was really telling. But if I boil it down to the essence of it, it's very much about what you just said. If my goals are truly tied to this driving, forcing, running on the hamster wheel, survival-based idea, you can get yourself into a place where you get so sick that then the pendulum has to swing the other direction.
Yeah.
And so what you're speaking to has a lot of truth to it. Yeah. Let's jump over here to a great question. Tom has been in the Enlightened Goal Setting workshop and workbook and says, I'm on the third part of discovering my most cherished experience. We'll talk about that. Just share with everybody on the line here.
Enlightened Goal Setting workbook right here.
There it is right there. So Tom has gotten through part 1 and part 2. And now he's stuck on and 3, and now he says he's stuck on 4. So would you walk us through this a little bit?
Ultimately, so Tom, ultimately, can we bring Tom in?
Well, he did it in the Q&A, so let's see.
He raised
Tom,
his
are
hand.
you?
It looks like he raised his hand. So you might go into the participants and see if you can.
I've got you
by raising hands or something.
Tom, I'm coming at you. Allow to talk. Here we go. Shaboomba. Here he is. Hey, Tom. Welcome. Great question.
Good afternoon.
Howdy.
Hey. So, Tom, can we just start at the beginning and then go through it and get you all the way to that ultimate, most cherished state?
Please.
All right, let's do this. So just Tom, this is the kind of thing we do in the mastermind. So it's like me kind of pontificating about it is interesting, but it's way better to just be hands-on. So let's start off with the most important goal that you have right now.
Eliminate all debt by 6x.
Eliminate all debt by 6x. I don't understand the 6x part. What does that mean?
Well, let's say my debt is $50,000. I want to be able to not only pay off the $50,000. I want to have 6 times 5, so I want to have $300,000.
Got it. So I want to pay off. I want to pay off my debt, and then I want to have a big, huge surplus on top of it. Got it. Great.
Yes.
And so, what's important about that for you, Tom?
Well, that's number 2. It allows me to, pay less in taxes and fees, and it's also going to allow me to create a passive income stream.
So I want to pay less taxes and fees. Sounds like there might be a tax burden to get paid off. So I want to pay less taxes and fees, and then I want to take my surplus and I want to create some passive income for myself.
Correct.
Really cool. So how is that important to you? Like, what will that do for you?
Okay, well, this will give me This is the number 3. This will give me the ability to be there for my family and help them if needed, and at the same time, not be a burden on them.
So I want to, yeah, so I want to have time to be there for my family. And I also don't want to burden them with financial troubles is that right? I don't want to burden
Correct.
them with financial stress. Is that correct?
Correct.
Great. So ultimately, Tom, the debt is gone. You've got this giant surplus of cash. No longer bugged by the government, no more being dragged down by that burden, by that tickle in the back of your head. You have invested correctly. You have passive income coming in. It's giving you the time that you want. Your family is free from any burden. They get to just live their life now. Ultimately, Tom, what does all of that do for you?
Well, it will allow me to be able to switch my focus from serving me right now to serving my family.
And how will that make you feel?
Like, this is why I was put on this earth.
And what if you had to boil that down to a word or two to describe that experience of I made it, I am taking care of my family, that feeling that of why I was put on this earth? If you had to boil it all down to a feeling and you had to describe it in a word or two, what would it be?
Making a difference.
Making a difference. Phenomenal. That is it. Will you write down making a difference as your most cherished experience? Now, Tom, I will say to you that in the mastermind, we would say that's phase 1, right? Like making a difference. Okay. But there is a high associated with making a difference that is even beyond that. It's like when I'm making a difference, what I'm feeling is what?
My justifying of being on this planet.
And when I feel totally justified and validated for being on this planet, I am serving my family, I am making a difference. Ultimately, what is that feeling? What is that experience? What are you experiencing?
A sense of relief.
And what is the opposite of that relief? When the relief is there,
Anxiety.
no. Take the relief. So the relief is the release. There was some anxiety that was there. Then there's a relief/release. It goes away. And then what's left?
This is why I need help. I couldn't get this. I was stuck.
Totally get it. You're not actually stuck. You just don't have the language. That's all. You're not stuck at all.
I
can
hear it when you sigh. You're just trying to access it, Tom. You're doing great.
It's just language, Tom. We can call it anything we want, right? But what we do is we get connected to that feeling over and over and over, so you can identify it like, oh, there it is. There's me doing it. That's it right there. And consider that your life has been so about survival that the only language you have is, I won't be surviving. I won't have anxiety. I won't be a failure anymore. I won't be letting my family down. All that's happened, Tom, is that you have been in the struggle, in the fight for so long, you don't have the language. And what I'm excited about is that you would even be interested in this conversation. That means you're ready to switch. You're ready to shift now. This is it. Could you use the word maybe satisfaction or contentment?
Self-actualization.
You could use self-actualization. It's probably a little too intellectual.
Okay.
But I would say
Satisfaction.
You might even just say, God, just everything's going to be okay.
Yes.
I just feel like everything's going to be okay.
Yes.
Now, when you begin to set your goals such that they are designed to invoke that feeling on a regular basis, and you are operating from a state of everything is going to be okay, the speed at which you pay off that debt, rack up that cash, get those cash flow machines going is accelerated.
I agree.
And the reason that I know that is very simply because only a sensitive person, a person who is predisposed to inner states, self-actualization, is interested in this conversation. Mm-hmm. And all of us, 100% of us, were born into the rat race of life. And we've been doing our best to deal with the anxieties and the negativity of the rat race. And it's so delicious to find other people who are like, yo, bro, it don't have to be that way. So welcome, Tom. High five, man. Thanks for getting in there and letting us take you through that process.
Thank you. Thank you for helping.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, good. Kristen, what do we got?
All right. Well, we have one technical question because I don't want to remove Tom, but I want to remove him from raising his hand. So Tom, if you accidentally get disconnected, my friend, jump back in. I'm hitting the button. All right?
Done.
Okay, thank you. All right, there we go.
All right, sweet.
Thanks, guys. Here's the deal. Zoom changes their functionality on a pretty regular basis, so sometimes we get to learn things in real time. Yay. All right, fantastic. So let me jump over here. I've got another question. Okay, here we go.
I'm going to shut my blinds because I have such a bright spot on the side of my head.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. One half of your face.
Get the camera looking good.
Yes, exactly right. Well, you can hear me, so let me start reading this question while you're doing that little adjustment. Okay, it says, if I don't have goals and I'm only going for the experience, I'm afraid that I'm going to get lazy. Oh man, can I relate to this one? And I'm afraid that I will let my family down and my life will start falling apart. I don't have goals.
Yeah. It's a really important question. Can you just repeat it one more time?
Yeah, you bet. Here we go. It says, if I don't have goals and I'm only going for the experience, I'm afraid that I'm going to get lazy. I'm afraid that I will let my family down and my life will start falling apart.
Aha. Yeah. Like if Tom only goes for contentment and satisfaction, is that going to then make him lazy? Is he going to stop being a go-getter? Is he going to stop going after the things that he wants? And this is an extremely common drunk monkey trick. The drunk monkey in your head is the mouthpiece for your survival consciousness. Your survival consciousness says you better get to work, you better make it happen every day, you better set goals, you better be motivated, you better do affirmations, you better get yourself disciplined, you better get up early. The early bird gets the worm, right? The survival mentation thought process that we call the drunk monkey is a taskmaster. And it's also scared. I remember reading one of my mentor's books, and at the beginning, there was this warning that said, like, most people who move into these enlightened states leave the world. And I thought to myself, that sounds terrible. I don't want to do that. And it turns out that is just the survival mind resisting. A creative go-getter, someone who is up to stuff, wants to do stuff, wants to accomplish. You don't want all of that stuff because it is survival. You don't actually want that. You actually want it because you can't help it, because you are this creative force in the universe that is creating. It's creating through you. So when we remove the negativity and the anxiety and the have to, must, should, need to, all those lies, when we remove those lies from the equation, what's left over is this raw inspiration, this energy of like, ooh, I want to do that. But here's the thing. The things that you want to do are gonna change. You're no longer going to put up with stuff that makes you feel bad. You're no longer going to put up with people guilting you or obligating you to stuff. You're no longer going to put up with any of those things. So there are aspects of your life that are going to fall away, but it's all the bullshit. It's all the stuff that you don't like at all. You don't like it. You're putting up with it. And when you get connected to your most cherished experience, when your mind goes quiet, when you are feeling a sense of peace and fulfillment and contentment, the possibility of you doing the things that are really important to you goes way, way up. And the possibility of you sitting around on the couch goes way, way down. You sit on the couch because you want to avoid. But when you are in a state of peace and flow and joy, there's nothing to avoid. So the exact opposite happens. You have to learn how to control the drunk monkey. In the mastermind, we spend the whole first part of our time together just working on the drunk monkey, because it will take you out and it will get you back into survival fast. All right, I hope I answered that.
Yeah, I think you did. Absolutely. Okay, great. Let me jump screens here. Sorry, everybody. Everybody else have the screen of a million windows. All right, let's go back to the questions.
Screen of a million windows.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. All right, hang on, two shakes. I apologize. I accidentally kicked Tom out.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're trying to get him back in.
Sorry, Tom.
Oh, hey, we have a question about the mastermind, Matthew.
Okay.
All right, it says, this is a mastermind question. How do you work on the Enlightened Goal Setting method in the group? Do you just talk about your goals every week?
I just want to remind everyone, what Kristen is doing is reading out of the emails that we're getting. So please, if you have if you have a written question, it's probably easier for us to get it in mferry@matthewferry.com, mferry@matthewferry.com. And maybe, Kristen, if you could put that into the chat for everyone, mferry@matthewferry.com. Sure. You can put it into the chat, but what we find is that the chat starts to like rack up and then we lose questions, whereas in the email we can find it. And then if you just want to come in, raise your hand up and we'll raise it up and then we will bring you in to talk to you. Okay, so go back. I don't
I'll read you the question again. Let me just get this into the chat. Okay, boom. Switching windows. All right. Okay, mastermind question. How do you work on the Enlightened Goal Setting method in the group? Do you just talk about your goals every week?
No and yes. So we work in 4 modules. So we work in these modules that are going to last, let's call it anywhere from 6 weeks to like 13 weeks, depending on what we're working on. We want to go in these sprints. And so we're going to, in the mastermind, you're going to set goals 4 different times. So we're going to go through the Enlightened Goal Setting process. We'll do like mini versions of it at the beginning of each module. Then we'll deep dive in the module during a weekend retreat. And the weekend retreat is via Zoom. It's 3 hours. It's like from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. West Coast time. And we do like a deep dive into our Enlightened Goal Setting then. And then we do a bunch of breathing and meditating and visualizing and thinking and intention setting. So at the beginning of the module, you do a goal setting process, but then you boil it down to your most important 3. And we call those your push intentions. And we focus on those 3 because we try to pick intentions that when these things happen, then it's like creates a cascade effect. Everything else starts to fall into place because of it. So you'll set it at the beginning, and then we're going to go through modules each week. And the modules are about removing the energetic blocks, getting your negativity under control, dealing with your confidence, your certainty, your trust, massively improving your relationships in your life, mean, that's a big one. Like one of the biggest things that stops people from achieving their goals is the distractions from relationships. And so I think I'm answering the question.
Yeah, I think you're nailing it. That's
Okay, good.
absolutely outstanding. Yeah, I think it's, the mastermind is not just about goal setting, right? Let me just shoot this little note off here. It's diving into the methodology, and this goal setting process is a part of the contextual framework in which you start to relate to your life.
Yeah.
Right. So what I notice is that people who join the mastermind have a certain set of skills and experiences and ways that they've gotten to where they want to get, and then they hit a ceiling. And so we use things like the Enlightened Goal Setting process to jump, kind of like what Tom was dealing with, right? Like, here I am here. How do I let go of this and jump over to this new way, this new contextual framework to get the things I really want? Yeah. But more importantly, what you do such a great job in explaining with the Enlightened Goal Setting process is that the fallacy is that the thing delivers the experience. Yeah. And I am like the poster child for that form of goal setting. And I think that it probably took me year after year after year of you sort of like beating it into my head, like, Kristen,
we're there.
So you're in the Maserati.
Yeah.
And you got the nails and you got the high heels and you got the suit and you're dialed. What are you experiencing? And I'm like, I feel great. I'm in the Maserati. And he's like, can you feel great not having the Maserati? And there was a part of my brain that was like,
yeah,
I can't even fathom what you just said, because I'm so wired to have specific, measurable outcomes. And I'm taking everything I got in me and I'm going that direction.
And so we still, in the work that we did with each other. So Kristen was a coaching client for a long time as well. And in the work that we did with each other, and then later in the mastermind, you still had specific measurable goals.
Sure, that's right.
It's just that you busted the delusion that once you achieved them, that you would experience what you wanted.
Yeah.
You busted the delusion that you had to suffer now in order to be happy later. We're going to hear from Susan Sly. She's coming in at the top of the hour. So in about 28 minutes, Susan is going to be joining us. And when I met Susan, she was one of the most successful women business owners in isogenics, number 3 in the world at that time. And yet she was like, really? Like, is this it? And since then, she has gone through the process with me so many different times. But since then, these days she's the CEO of an incredible AI-based tech company. She still has her speaking and training business. She has a successful podcast. She is a mother of 4 children. She's just like, just like, it's nuts what she does now, but she's doing it all because of the experience that she wants to have. So she's doing more, making more successful than ever as a result of getting focused on the experience. Okay, I think we're over making our point. Someone has raised their hand.
Great. And then we do have someone who's just asked us to kind of summarize the difference between traditional goal setting and enlightened goal setting. And so in a moment, I'd love you to give us that summary. Just give us that.
No problem.
Like, contrast those two things for sure. Okay, we have Jay Pergley. I'm going to click the button and jump on in and let us know what your question is. Here we go.
Hello.
Hi.
What's the J stand for?
George.
George. What's up?
How are you doing? I'm a very result-oriented person. So I set the goals and I expect to get the results. Not getting them, it leads to a frustration. So what I'm passing through is I have no issues to put a good mindset and live what I believe that is for me, what life has reserved to me. I have no issues at all, but I do have issues when the roadblocks start to accumulate and I'm not achieving goals. And I have that setback that brings us back and shift my focus from where I'm supposed to be with my mindset, trying to fix those small things that it just shifts. I can give an example. For example, if you're working and and you have that schedule, and you have a vehicle, and then suddenly that changes. They give you a older vehicle, and they change your schedules. That shifts your mind to think about that employer rather than your business that you're trying to build. How do you deal with this?
So good. So good, George. So I want to begin by acknowledging I love that you're able to distinguish that I am a goal achieving machine. I set goals, I want the results, I get them. And then I love that you're able to distinguish I get frustrated when I don't.
Yeah.
And there's these blocks that I come across along the way that put me into a state of frustration. There's a couple of frameworks that we work on in the mastermind that I think are going to be really, really helpful for you. The first one is called attachment. So, George, attachment is an exaggerated fear of losing an imaginary benefit. And every goal that you set is an imaginary benefit in the future. You made it up, George. It just is like you just said, you know what I want? I want this thing out here in the future. It's not real. You don't know if it can happen. It hasn't manifested into reality. But what happens is the drunk monkey in our head assigns value to that new future that isn't real. And so when we're on our way to getting the thing that we want and we get stopped, all of a sudden, here comes the drunk monkey. You're not going to get what you want. That means all these things. It starts making up all these lies. These are all the ways that your life is going to suck. This is bad. You aren't going to be you aren't going to have the life that you want anymore. It's just like it creates all of these illusions. And what there is to do is to pull out my book. Now, I will say in the mastermind, this is our go-to. We are releasing attachment on a regular basis. Do you have my book, George?
I haven't, unfortunately. I just
grab
got the
it. Or George, here's another thing. Go to just literally search on Google Matthew Ferry releasing attachment, and in there you will see that there is a set of techniques to release your attachment. So is there a goal, George, right now that you are feeling stuck with that we can do the releasing attachment exercise on?
I'll be more than happy to.
Yeah, what is it?
To set up my startup. I already set up. I need to find a co-founder, a tech co-founder, and I'm struggling to find this guy. And I'm started thinking, should I be this guy instead? But I don't have the technical knowledge. How long time will it take?
So let me see if I can translate and understand what you're saying. You have a tech company that you have founded. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
And you're looking for that partner / lieutenant that can help you to build and create this product that you have in your mind.
Perfect.
Okay, totally get it. Welcome to our world. We have a lot of people like you in our world. Okay, so that action feels stuck. It's like, God, how come I can't find this person? And are they ever going to come? And I don't really have the technical expertise, but should I try and do it myself? Blah, 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 blah. Let's start with this idea. What are you afraid of losing?
To be honest, I'm not afraid to losing. Worst case scenario, it won't happen and I have to come up with a different idea. And whatever I have worked to now will be just a lesson.
So first of all, Jay, high five, bro. High five, man. Yes. So the worst case scenario is a very important thing for you to exercise with the drunk monkey. Now let's go back to, I want you to just play with me. So let's play with the mindset of stuck, okay? I want to hire this person. I can't seem to find them. The idea feels stuck. And let's be honest, when it feels stuck, you kind of get annoyed or frustrated or agitated, like, really? What, does it have to be this hard? That kind of thing. What is the future? What is the future that you're afraid of losing? So without the worst case scenario, like, just let's indulge the drunk monkey. What is that future?
It's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good one.
Yeah, it's like I come up with this technology. It's extremely successful. We grow it internationally. I take it public. I'm now, buying and selling other companies. I'm, living at the top of the food chain. Something like that, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Just want you to know, George, I know this dream because it is a dream that I work with my clients on all the time. And my clients are this kind of go-getter. So how is that future an exaggeration? How are you exaggerating a little bit?
To exaggerate my vision, go to space. That's the build a space station is the most exaggeration I can go. Team up with Richard Branson, and we build our space station up there.
Go Richard Branson, yes. And it's so interesting. He is definitely one of us in terms of taking on these kinds of mindsets. Let's go back to this idea, though. Attachment is an exaggerated fear of losing an imaginary benefit. And there's some imaginary benefit, like this particular tech idea is the keys to the kingdom. It's going to get me where I want to go. It's going to be the thing that takes me all the way. And when I hit roadblocks, I feel I don't like it. I get frustrated and annoyed. So let me ask you a question. How is the loss of this tech company, how is this loss without the exaggeration? You already pointed to it, but say it again. If you didn't exaggerate at all, I lose. I don't ever find the person to help me develop it.
Okay.
And then what?
So I don't find a person. I don't get the funds. If I can carry on with my company, I need to come up with something different. I need to pivot and find something that either way I can find someone else or something that I can do by myself.
That's right.
Pivot.
And can you be at peace with that future?
Yes.
Yeah. And so now that you're at peace with that future, you just kind of take a deep breath in. And then you go back to your most cherished experience. So I don't know what your most cherished experience is. My most cherished experience is oneness. Kristen's most cherished experience is joy. We saw that Tom's most cherished experience was something like contentment or satisfaction. Have you gone through the process of figuring out what your most cherished experience is just yet?
With Tom, I was doing the exercise and thinking, I think it will be freedom.
Yes. Yes, space traveler.
Freedom to do things. Yeah.
I love it. Okay. So now, if freedom is the actual goal, what there is to do is say, what am I committed to in my company such that I'm experiencing the freedom and moving the ball down the court? So you start to say, I really want to experience freedom and I want to accomplish the goals that I've set for myself versus I want to accomplish the goals that I've set for myself. And when I achieve them, then I'll have freedom. So you actually start to reorient your life, George, to express your freedom now. And can we just be honest? Very likely that if we look around in your life, you're a very free person already. And when you start to get connected to that feeling of freedom everywhere, here comes your tech guy, just comes out of nowhere. because you're not like, go, 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 go. I need to make this happen. Right? People are not actually attracted to that.
Mm-mm-mm.
They're actually attracted to you like, let me tell you my vision. Let me tell you what I'm stoked about. Let me tell you what I'm lit up. This is the thing that I'm building. God, I love talking about it, right? And you go into that state of freedom in that moment. That is galvanizing. That's what Richard Branson does. He brings us into his visions with his speaking because he's not attached. Play around with that. Go play around with the attachment exercise and see how that helps you to stay in the best possible place. Did I get to the heart of it there, George? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. I'll get a read on the book.
Please.
I'll move my top priority must to read book and list, and then definitely. Yes. Thank you very much. Appreciate it indeed.
Yeah, awesome. And just keep us in the loop, okay? Because we're here. We answer every email that comes into mferry@matthewferry.com. So keep us in the
Beautiful.
loop, brother. Great.
Definitely. I'll lower my hand and I mute myself so I don't get kicked out.
I don't
Cool.
know. Yeah.
No, I did. I kicked Tom out and we can't get him back in. I hate to say.
Disable talking, pin, hide non-video, rename, remove, mute.
He's got it. He's got it. He's good to go. He's going to show up here on our panel. So let's just go like this. Boom. And no, I don't want to remove. I'm not playing that game again. I don't want to remove. I don't want to do that. Can I just add a couple little comments to what you just shared?
Yeah, go for it.
So one of the other things that I have learned through this process is releasing false urgency. And that false urgency is one of those things that we do as high achievers that sometimes causes us to stumble and to feel frustrated, like George was talking about, like, where is this thing? And the more if we get frustrated because we put an arbitrary timeline in place, the more repelling and unpleasant it can be to be around us. Distinct from George being in that state of freedom and then adding a little bit of certainty, sprinkling a little certainty on top of knowing that it's all in good time and staying focused on the outcome and the experience that you're having going towards that outcome. So false urgency is a stopper, and sprinkling a little certainty on top, I find, definitely helps with the goal setting.
Yes, big time.
Yeah. All right. Freaking-tastic. Okay. So let's go. I've got another question here that came in.
I just want to point out that we do have about 10 minutes before Susan comes on.
Cool. So let's do this. So for everybody who's on the line, will you just give us that contrasting explanation of what we all know is traditional goal setting versus your enlightened goal setting process and philosophy?
Yeah. So I'll encapsulate that in one real simple set of statements. Traditional goal setting assumes that something's wrong and that I need to fix it. And that once I fix it, then I'll have the experience that I believe my life could be. And until that gets fixed, I'm incomplete and I'm not there yet. That's traditional goal setting. Does it work? Hell yeah, it works. Look around. Every freaking thing that you see that's awesome was set in that modality and accomplished in that modality. So accomplishment happens inside of traditional goal setting for sure. It's just that if you got to be like me, the man who is side by side coaching the people who are accomplishing some of the most amazing things on the planet, if you got to be in my seat, you would see that they accomplished it and then they still felt unsatisfied. They still felt that life was not there yet, that they were still broken. I have a billionaire client that we were, discussing recently, like the degree to which he feels like he's doing what he wants. And we came down to 5%. Distinct from where I'm at, like the degree to which I feel like I'm doing what I want, approximately 70%. Kristen, approximately 80%. Those are wildly different numbers. My billionaire client accomplishes way, way more than I do, but his sense of satisfaction is way less. So traditional goal setting. It works, but it won't accomplish the goal you think it will. It'll just rearrange the environment, but you'll still be the person that you are. So you'll still be unsatisfied, wishing it was different, can't wait till it all changes, hope that once it changes, it's all going to be better.
Yep.
Enlightened goal setting assumes that all is well. So inside of enlightened goal setting is a whole set of practices and processes that you do. This is what we do in the mastermind. Those practices and processes get you to essentially release the illusion that life needs to change in order for you to feel better. So you identify, well, what is it that I really want to feel? And then you start setting goals to feel that. You can't hit the target if you don't know what it is. If you shoot for more money and you're hoping it's going to make you satisfied, you will be sorely disappointed. You'll have more money and you won't be satisfied. If you shoot for being satisfied and you want to make more money, you'll be satisfied while you don't have the money. Then you'll be satisfied when you kind of have a little bit more. Then you'll be satisfied as you really start gaining momentum. Then you'll be satisfied when you hit a breakdown. Then you'll be satisfied when you overcome the breakdown. Then you'll be satisfied when you achieve the goal. That's enlightened goal setting. It brings out the best in you. It brings out your A game. It makes you feel so confident and empowered, and it brings out all of your resources and skills and all the things that you're already good at. They don't get chewed up in your discontent.
Chewed up in your discontent. I'll tell you what, I was there 2 days ago, discontent. And I had to have a little chat with myself and get back to what is my most cherished experience. So if you have not had a chance to download the Enlightened Goal Setting workbook, there was a link in the confirmation to join the Coach-A-thon today. I highly encourage you to do it. In the beginning, the process is going through and finding that most cherished experience. And I was having a really rough day on Tuesday, like not good. Does. And the reason I bring it up is simply this stuff happens in real time for people like us, people who are up to stuff, who have goals, who are moving the needle in their lives. They're on the hook for things. And it's easy to get frustrated or feel like you're being thwarted. And on Tuesday morning, I was just having one of those moments. I'm literally making myself a coffee and I went, Kristen, your most cherished experience is joy. You got to find joy in the frickin' taxes right now, sister. Like it was this little Kristen pep talk. And what I appreciated about it is that my most cherished experience, having that piece of information, it's like what you were talking with Tom, simply having the language of this is the thing that's most important to me, is to being in joy, no matter what thing I'm like have to tackle today, really does make a difference. And when I reminded myself of that, I just was able to shift back into a much more effective and productive state. Before that, I was pissed and resisting. And when I'm Matthew can testify, when I'm not in a good mood, it's not fun. It's not fun for me. So anyway, the power here is to use this process like in the moment, right? To stay connected to what you want, stay effective. All right, let me go back. We've got a couple of questions here. Switch screens, just a second. It's the woman of perpetual windows.
I'm actually Googling how do we get someone out of the thing. As a host, co-host, find the question you would like to answer. Click the answer live button to answer the question during click type answer dooba. So I'm getting the lowdown here, but how do you then get it? How do you have them go out?
Let me ask you this question and then I'm going to do a little more digging.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here we go. It says, Matthew, I have been driving, setting goals, and doing affirmations, totally focused on what I want my whole life. I can't even wrap my head around working on my well-being. Are you asking me to stop working on the tangible results? Are you asking me to work on the intangibles? How do those two things work together? Because I really want to achieve my goals, the tangible ones, and the goals, the tangible ones, the goals that really changed my life. So let me just get that again. So I've been doing this. I've been driving affirmations. And
I'm ready. Hold on. Go ahead.
Here we go. I've been driving, setting goals, and doing affirmations, totally focused on what I want my whole life. Sounds familiar. I can't even wrap my head around working on my well-being. Are you asking me to stop working on the tangible, real results? Are you asking me to work on the intangibles? How do those two things work together? Because I really want to achieve my goals, the tangible goals, the goals that really change my life.
The answer is yes and no. So yes, I want you to start working on your well-being. It's just practical. So what happens is we set goals to achieve, I want the new car, I want the new house, I want the island, I want the new company, I want to hit it out of the park, I want to make $1 million, I want to have an awesome family, I want to be able to take everyone on family trips, I want to have a big house so that I can have people over, so we can have nice parties and really enjoy. I want to have a winery so that I can host people and we can drink wine together. I want it on and on and on and on. And all of those things assume that once you get there, everything's going to be okay. Yeah. And as a man who's been accountable to thousands of people in the process of actually getting there, like I have billionaires on my speed dial right now. I have 100 millionaires on my speed dial right now. I have people who are running global corporations on my speed dial right now. I just pick up the phone, call them, yo. I have those relationships because they've been in the mastermind, they've been in coaching, they've read my book, they've been working with me for years and years and years. And every single one of those people hired me because they did it. They made it. They were there. They accomplished. And they were like, really? This is it? I'm at the top. I have a client who is part of the royal family in a particular country, and he's flying around in his private jet, and he's calling me up because he's like, how is it possible that I am lonely? I thought that all of my wealth and I'd be able to share it with people, and I'd be able to bring people together, and right? And so I'm asking you to spend a small portion of your time on the well-being side of the equation. And the way that I work on well-being is totally different than other people. The way that I work on well-being is, one, we identify and release the unconscious reflexes of the drunk monkey, because the drunk monkey is literally hardwired to take you out. Not take you out on purpose, but take you out because the drunk monkey was designed for hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago. It doesn't work in today's world. The negative thinking that you have is nothing more than a malfunction. You're malfunctioning. So we work to release that. Then we look at the underlying hidden motives. So there's greed, grudge, hatred, victim, illogical rules, humble, traitor, resistance, pride, lazy. These things actually run the filters. So you're seeing the world in a way that is causing you to chew up too much RAM. You're using too much energy because you're not seeing the world effectively. You're seeing the world through survival. Then the next thing that we do is we connect with enlightened perspectives. And enlightened perspectives are really, really difficult to ingest and live. You actually have to practice them. And that's what I do with people, is we practice perspectives that when you adopt the perspective, you know in your bones that all is well, which means you don't need to go anywhere or do anything. I mean, the guy that I was just talking about who is part of the royal family, he and I connected recently again, and he just basically said, like, I don't even know how I used to live before. Like, I'm in such delight all the time, which was his deal. That's what he wanted, delight. Hey, here comes Susan. And there she is. And she's looking good. Hold on, Susan. I'm in the last legs of describing something. And then the fourth thing is to work on essentially recontextualization. So it's exactly what Tom was dealing with. Tom came in and he's like, I can't find the language. I can't find the language. And that's recontextualization. You actually have to learn a different language if you're going to operate inside of enlightened frameworks. So, Kristen, I'm going to ask that we actually kick George out and ask him to come back in. And I can't believe that Zoom doesn't have the functionality to get somebody out. It's driving me crazy.
I totally understand. I'm going to say this. We got Tom back. So touchdown, but it was not for some effort in the background. So if you don't mind, we're gonna skin this cat another day. I will figure out how to remove George in a graceful way, but Tom was literally blocked. The system didn't basically said you can't come back.
Because we kicked him out.
Because we kicked him out.
Oh God.
So he's back.
Sorry, Tom.
But he came back on his phone and we've been having a little, I just said, Tom, you are a trooper, man. Thank you for being so devoted to being a part of this today. All right. Let's invite and welcome, well, not invite, but formally welcome the lovely lady who just jumped on, who I haven't seen in quite some time.
And as beautiful as ever.
Oh my goodness.
We can't hear you, Susan. You got to get your microphone going. While you're getting your microphone going, I'm just going to say this. Susan Sly is one of those people. Now, there's obviously some of you are on this Coach-A-Thon because Susan invited you to come and be a part of it with us. So you already know her, but there's a lot of people who don't know Susan Sly. And I'm just going to say a couple of things, and then I'll let her do a little formal intro on herself, and then we'll get into more questions here. But I just want to say this. One of the most powerful go-getter women that I've ever met. And I thought that I was married to one of the most powerful go-getter women that I've ever met.
No.
Susan's like 4 times more go-getterness than anyone that I've ever met, and an enlightened being, and extremely accomplished. She's run one of the biggest organizations for isogenics in the world for the longest time. She's now going back to MIT to get her degree and learn all about a whole new world that she's gone into, because she's the CEO of an AI-based startup and just raising money like nobody's business and taking ground like nobody's business. And I'm a little more of a ranter, Susan, but if you can just give us the quick and dirty on your bio so that our non-Susan fans know who they're talking to.
Sure. And can you hear me now?
We can. Yeah, you sound good.
Yay. Well, what I was saying is KMF, like, Matthew, not that I'm not excited to see you, but KMF, oh my gosh, like, no. Anyway.
I know.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm good now.
Okay.
It's wonderful to see so many friends. I saw Rhonda, Danielle, Ruby, Jess, George, like the list goes on and on. Hey, what's up, everyone? Happy Thursday, right? If you're watching this live. So yeah, a little bit about the journey. I want to begin with a question. My question to all of you is this: is your soul on fire right now? It's my question. Because if your soul isn't on fire and you're going through the motions, you are out of integrity and you're inauthentic, and people will pick up on that. My part B to that is you can set your soul on fire like this anytime you want, about anything you want, as long as you know how to put yourself in that state. So when Matthew's saying, yes, I built a significant size organization. So in the direct sales space, that organization has generated about $1.7 billion in sales. Then recently in my AI company, we just closed a 5-year multiple 7-figure deal. I can't go into the details with that, but we're rolling out into 1,000 locations for a national retailer. And I love all the people who said it's never going to work, or, you know, what is Susan doing? Or I don't want to invest in that. And it's like, well, okay, you know, It doesn't matter, because when my soul is on fire, and I want everyone to write this down, when my soul is on fire, meaning not Susan Sly, but Matthew, KMF, whoever you are, when your soul is on fire, it doesn't matter what kind of business you're doing, or if you're writing a book, or you decide you want to be a beachfront poet, or whatever it is you're going to do, you will accomplish it. And that's why when my soul is on fire for something, whether it's building a huge sales organization or taking Radius to $1 billion valuation, which we will be, then look out, because my soul is on fire, and that's it. The C parts, right? And so the reason I bring that up is because I'm here to serve all of you. If you're not getting the results that you want to get, then you have to figure out a way to set your soul on fire. Some of you are in direct sales. You're going through the motions. You're not building a business. Your bank account is a reflection of your actions and your habits. And the thing I have to say to you is your soul isn't on fire, and that's why you're not attracting people. Now I'm ranting, Matthew. So I'm just going to stop ranting.
Well, to get us into alignment on the language that we've been using with everybody through this this process of launching the Enlightened Goal Setting process out into the world, getting your soul on fire is an expression of you living your most cherished dream, your most cherished experience. Like, you are just loving this moment, whether it is failure or agony or pushing the rock up the hill. You're so in it because you have rearranged yourself from the $1 billion valuation is great, but I'm going to actually be in the state that I want in every step of the way, and the $1 billion valuation will ultimately be an expression of the actions that I took. And because I'm aligned, those actions are more congruent and more effective. So I want to open up to questions from our group here that has been on. They've already been on with us for an hour.
Awesome.
We're going to go as long as we need to go. We have Thach coming in a half hour. Then we have Jamil in an hour. Then we have Karen Coffey in an hour and a half. We're just, we're just going bonkers here on
Matthew,
this process.
could I just jump in and say something about that? Because one of the things when you and I were working together for years, and Matthew is the coach's coach, right? So he is like the GOAT in that world, is there is a concept I want everyone to understand, and that is that we must be in love with the process. Let me give an example. Matthew and KMF are married. Chris and I are married. It's great to say we're going to be married forever and we take vows, but if you're not in love with the process, the marriage isn't going to last. So let me give a glimmer as we go to questions. So right now in my direct sales business, we're launching, just for the members of that company, we're launching a 9-day total life detox that's free. But I'm passionate about that because I'm passionate about helping people transform. Right. And I'm passionate about the process, not thinking about the end result, like, oh, I have to make all this money or whatever. And I see so many people hung up, and I get emails and emails. How do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? Guess what? All those how questions, they're just your drunk monkey, to use Matthew's language. It's the drunk monkey telling you you're not good enough. So you can ask me 50 times, how do I prospect, or how do I help people share, or how do I raise money? How do I? That's your drunk monkey telling you that there's some kind of secret sauce recipe that you don't have. Guess what? You have it. And it's about your alignment with that process. And that's why Matthew is the GOAT when it comes to coaching.
Thank you.
Are you going to sing? Are you going to sing a GOAT song?
Oh, geez. Oh, man.
Get out the guitar.
You just opened up Pandora's box.
What do you mean?
I really love what you said, Susan, because I bring it down even more to the day-to-day. Like, what is the experiencing I'm having right now so I can be powerful and effective and get the job done? And I was sharing just before you jumped on, I've got this tax thing going on. So yesterday was corporate tax day, and we had a hiccup that showed up on Tuesday. I'm making this myself a cup of coffee first thing in the morning. And I find in this moment, I'm frustrated. My head is down. I'm resisting what's happening now, what is demanding my time. And when I reconnected to my most cherished experience, which is joy, which you call having your soul on fire, which I love, But for my most cherished experience, it's joy. And when I could flip that switch in the moment and just be in joy that there was a path to resolution for my tax. It was just like a agitating thing I had to deal with in the moment. All of a sudden, I put it in the proper context. I got into action. I felt empowered. I got the job done, and then I moved on. And so what I'm hearing you say is it has nothing to do with, do we hit the billion, which we're gonna, do we get the thing launched, which we're gonna, it's who am I being in that state that I'm bringing to the process, and every single big action and little action being congruent along the way.
Oh yeah, so well said. Because I've got something radical to share with all of you. You've probably already heard it. You can find joy in anything.
Yes.
You can find joy in anything. And that when you realize that, there is even a joy in the no. There's a joy in the showing up and serving and not focusing on, oh, we ran traffic and, or we sent emails to our list and, whatever, how many people showed up or how many people bought the event or whatever the thing is. When you can serve with that place of joy, it's unbelievable. So whether you're doing corporate taxes, right? Or you're prospecting for your business or whatever it is you're doing. And even, I'll just give like the window into my life. So my day today is my rescue dog, Noah, is having bladder issues. So 1 a.m., Chris was up, the dog peed on the floor. We just got new hardwood floors. Then I woke up and I stepped in pee this morning. My car battery isn't working. So Chris has got to drive everyone everywhere. I had a sales meeting with our new sales team at Radius, like all these different things going on. And it's like, but there's joy in this. Oh, and then I came in the garage, Kristen and Matthew, and Chris is like, the cat got out. It's not even my cat. It's Avery's cat. And I'm like, just like minutes before coming on here, I'm crawling around in a 108-degree garage looking for this damn cat. Fortunately, it's white. And I had to step back because I'm not perfect. And the drunk monkey is showing up. And I had to step back and go, where's the bliss in this?
Yeah.
And one of the things I always tell my husband is the things we now complain about are the things in the future we're going to dream about.
Yeah, we're going to say, God, remember when?
Yeah,
hey,
remember
Kristen,
when.
let's go look inside the email, please, and see if we have any questions for Chris. I was about to say for Chris, but he's not here today.
No, we have Susan today.
Yeah, we have Susan today, not Chris.
He's picking up kids right now.
Okay, good. Well, let's look in the email, see if we. So, Susan, we have people emailing in questions. We have some people raising their hand. We have some people in the chat. We're just trying to manage them all. But so for those of you who have just joined us, mferry@matthewferry.com, mferry@matthewferry.com. It's also in the chat. Send in your written questions there. Enlightened Goal Setting COACH-A-THON. Let's go, Kristen. What do we got?
Bring it. Okay, so here's first one for Susan. It says, no matter how much I achieve, I still don't feel like I've made it or I have accomplished. I always feel like I'm not quite there yet, and the next goal will finally fix the problem. How do I get out of this mindset?
Oh yeah, I probably know who wrote that question. Like literally. So here's what I'm going to say is we're all addicted to something. And Matthew and I, when Matthew was on my show, we spent a lot of time talking about addiction. And addiction to achievement is really no different. And I'm just going to be raw and real because that's who I am, than addiction to cocaine or alcohol or anything. Because you're not addicted to achieving the goal. You're addicted to how you feel insufficient until you achieve the goal. You're addicted to feeling less than. And I say that because that used to be me. Oh, I did the Ironman. I came in 8th with a fractured pelvis. That's not enough. I'm going to run 6 Boston marathons, after an MS diagnosis, and I'm going to achieve this level and this level and this level and so on. So here's the thing I want to say to you is it actually is, it is an addiction, But the good news is you can channel any addiction into a place of peace and a place of purpose, because you're in that addiction about the goal achievement. It's a very effing selfish place.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's all about you and what have I achieved? And I know that person might be hanging up right now because they're like, oh, I just wanted kumbaya because I'm an achiever. Mine was the first question asked, right? But the reality is often there's a need for significance. There's a need for attention. And that's something that's unfulfilled and unresolved. So how do you find peace in that place? One is make it about service. Start to turn your achieving goals into service goals and start to not think about how many accolades you get for it. That's number one. Because if you want to sell $2 billion in goods and services like I have, and that's about how can I show up and serve? How can I show up and add value? And I was at yesterday when I was in San Diego at Traffic and Conversion, my friend is writing a book. And I'm like, Daniel, he's talking about the book. I'm like, let me know how I can help. And this is what we're going to do. This, how we get your book to #1, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, what can I do in return? I'm like, nothing. I don't keep score. You're keeping score. And that's a problem. Shift what you are making meaningful. Start to make service meaningful. Start to figure out how to add value to people. Start to shift your goals away from yourself. And the other thing I had to learn, Wayne Dyer used to say is ego stands for edging God out. I had to learn how to be that person who stepped back and not use the pronoun I all the time and start to say we, and not have to be that person who made my presence known in a room. I spoke at Traffic and Conversion the 2019. This time I attended and I was walking around like everyone else. No big deal, because we all have something to learn in every process. And the biggest thing we must learn is humility. If you want to start to live a more fulfilling life, start to live a more humble life.
That's so good. All right.
I know they hung up. They probably like,
probably not. And I'm going to add to that just one, taking it, like bending it back right into the conversation we were having before. Yeah. In the end, if you can identify what your target experience is, then you can make anything you do that target experience. You can shift it, which will galvanize you, align you, and it will energize you in the process. You'll feel satisfied now on your way to the accomplishment or not accomplishment of that goal. I know we got to have more questions. I don't want to take too much time. Go.
Yeah, we do. Let's keep it going. So the question is, what I have sales goals for, which is a quota for work. So they have a sales goal. They have like a quota, a goal they actually have to set or hit. How do I need to go into survival consciousness when my boss says that I have to hit the goal or there'll be a consequence? So it's really like, it's all nice to have the experience, but there's this tangible thing I have to produce at the end. Yeah. How do you deal with that when your boss has an expectation and we're talking about being in that experience state along the way? How do you sort of shore those two things up, Susan? What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. I was in a role many years ago where I had monthly quotas, and one of the things is, especially when you're working for a large multinational company, is when you achieve the quota, they raise the quota. Right. And there's an expectation that if that month end falls on a Sunday or a Saturday, you're not having a weekend. You're just going to work unless you've met the quota. So the first thing I would say is ask yourself this question, meditate on this. How can I have more fun with this? Because all it is a sales target. And if you're someone who can achieve those sales targets and you're not feeling recognized and appreciated at your job, I can tell you, send me your resume. I'm hiring salespeople right now. And, I can train someone to sell anything. It's just, it's whether you're selling AI houses, whatever, there's a learning curve, but figure out a way to have fun with it. And when I figured out a way to have fun with selling, it came back to how I answered the last question. It was because my goal achievement was how much value could I add? And as I started to really extend that to what is the value in what I'm selling and how is this customer going to benefit and what is going to help them with what I've got to offer. And the more people that can have that experience, the more fired up I get and putting myself in that peak state. But again, I'll say this to you. Let's say you have a high quota, you're hitting 80% of it. There's probably right now in this current job environment, there's probably, I don't know, thousands of companies that your 80% would probably be 100% for them. And if you're not fulfilled, start looking for another job, because sales is the highest paid profession in the world.
Totally agree.
Yeah. And that's a really interesting lead into this question that's for you, Matthew, that just came in. And it's this interesting paradigm. And it says, I feel completely trapped by my success. So I'm hitting the quota. I'm successful. And the question is, can your mastermind help me with that?
Well, the answer is yes. Of course, the mastermind, the goal of the mastermind is very, very simple. I want you to experience what Susan is experiencing, which is a big life. It would be very easy for Susan to say, I am trapped by all the promises that I've made and all the commitments that I've made. But you can see that her most cherished experience keeps coming out. She keeps nodding to it. Service, making a difference, making it fun. How can I add value? Like, that's the shit that turns her on. So she just takes whatever is coming at her, and she's been trained essentially to take, here comes a bunch of crap, bleh, and then she just goes and turns it into her most cherished experience. And then she's like, I love this crap. And then she does it amazing. That is essentially what the mastermind is. So if you feel trapped, join the mastermind. Let's get you untrapped immediately.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and
yeah.
Can we just point out that, Susan, no kidding, you said, my soul is on fire and I'm crawling on my knees trying to find the cat.
Right.
Like, I just love, like, it's that.
In 105 degrees.
Right.
Yeah. And my knees are on fire and I'm wearing an all black outfit in this hot garage. It is. And, you know, the other thing that's on my heart to say, since we're all friends here, is that it's a muscle. So I'm going to tell a Matthew story, since we're just telling, you know, stories. So I don't remember what year it was, but I said to Matthew, I'm like, dude, I've stopped being able to manifest. And he said to me, he's like, it's a muscle, Susan. And and I was like, oh, and he said, let's start with something small. And, why is that, important? And what is the emotional attachment to that thing? And the power in understanding that, how are you like, oh, okay, I'm crawling around the garage at 108 degrees and please, Jesus, don't let this cat be outside because a hawk or an owl or some Arizona creature is going to go take this cat, right? And how do you get to that place where you can just turn it? Everyone's going to have a different trigger. Kristen, Matthew, and I were all certified in NLP. We're all NLP trained, neuro-linguistic programming. So we all have our anchors that is going to shift it. For me, it's like, oh, how can I add value? Someone asked me to be a guest on their podcast. They're like, well, what is the product you want to sell? I'm like, I'm not selling anything. I'm building $1 billion AI company. So, unless you're a national retailer who wants to spend, $80 million with me, like nothing, right? I just want to show up and serve. And whatever that trigger is for you. So for George or Christina or Jessica, it might be a different trigger. For me, it's service. So I show up and like, how do I put my best self forward to serve Matthew and Kristen? That's all I care about, and the people that they've brought on, and being able to say, oh, well, we're putting our reputations on the line. So how do I show up and serve? And it's, you may have a different trigger than any of us, but now I'm going to go all woo woo, as you ascend in consciousness, and that's why I just don't understand some people's motivation. I can't comprehend it anymore. But as you ascend in consciousness, and it's like, I want to add value to people. I want to love on people. I want to genuinely help people have a better human experience. As you ascend into those places, you can't do anything any longer for, I just want the money, or I just want the rank, or whatever it is, because it's like speaking gobbledygook and you don't understand it. So then when my other friend, Marcus Murphy, and I'm like, Marcus, what are you up to? How can I add value to you? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, dude, what are you up to? So he tells me, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to connect you with this person. He's like, what can I do for you? I'm like, I don't keep score, because it doesn't compute to me. If this is landing on anyone in the chat, just say yes. Or if you're like, what in the world is she smoking? You can say that too. The answer is nothing, right? So in my daily production notebook, here's today. I only write in purple pen, so weird things about me. So I like to tell, I'm a Marvel fan, not a DC fan. I only use purple pens. It's just a thing. So in my daily notebook, I have
Marvel high conscious, DC low conscious.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I have a section called Love and Contribute. So when I'm writing, I have physically put people's names there of people that I've added value to that day. And so in doing that, that's the only way I keep score. And I'm not thinking, oh, how is this coming back to me? Because I have such trust that it will, but I don't care how or when, if that makes sense.
And you're intentional, and you're focused, and you have goals, and you have specific measurable results, and you have, all kinds of things you're accountable for, and. So it's like, it's this dance, everybody. What we're talking about here is a different way of operating. It's not for everyone. It's only for the person who's predisposed to enlightened states of consciousness. That's it. If you're not predisposed to enlightened states of consciousness, everything that we say sounds like bullshit. And you wouldn't even be here, right? So this is for you. And your friends will not understand it, and that's okay.
And I want to throw this out there here, because I know there's some people struggling, because a lot of people are here who are in the sales profession, right? When you're thinking, I've got a quota, or I have to hit a rank, people pick up on that. It's like, I don't care what political affiliation you are, you're probably one side or the other, but you probably feel very strongly about a certain politician. And the reason you feel strongly is because there's something about that person that has that taking energy.
Yep.
When we show up and we have a quota, or we're like, oh, if I only knew the recipe to, get 10 new customers or whatever it is, we have that taking energy. And that energy, if you want to attract people into your sales organization or whatever it is you do, your stratosphere of life, you've got to show up in a different way. And before I was crawling around the garage, one of our clients at Radius, I was in our lab. We have this lab, and it's like a lot of like PhD students. It's really geeky. I love it. Anyway, this one kid, he's working on this thing. It looks so cool. And like, I get to take a picture of that. And I sent it to the vice president of sales at this company. And I'm like, we're working on some really cool stuff for you. And he texted me back. He's like, that looks so freaking amazing. I mean, like just little things like that with no agenda. And I know that it brightens his day and it reaffirms why he's doing business with us.
And I would assert that the reason that you have that capacity is that you continue to connect, in our vernacular, to your most cherished experience.
Yeah.
Like, your mind is free. You're not burdened by like scheming and how do I get my thing done, and I'm worried about myself first. You're in this very clear state, Susan. It's so powerful to listen to you speak, because your intention is to be a contribution. That's what sets your soul on fire. And when you keep focused on that, you're still getting everything done. You're knocking down all those dominoes. But in the process, there's such joy and fun, and you can contribute in a free state. We call it in the gift process, which, by the way, if you want to go old school, that was like the first thing that Matthew and I did, was write a book together called The Gift.
Yep.
Based on a process that he had developed. We call it universal reciprocity, which is that you are a contribution without the expectation that it comes back from that person, but you trust, and this is the woo-woo part you were talking about, you trust that the universe is just going to bring it right back. Universal
Karmic piggy
reciprocity.
bank, baby. Karmic
Yep.
piggy bank.
Yep,
Hey, Susan,
exactly.
we have Thach coming on here in a moment,
Yep.
and I wanna give you so first of all, I just want to say, like, holy shit, lady.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I wasn't expecting that. But I'm, you know, like, if you saw me, I was over here like this the whole time, like, yeah.
And I'm like, when are we doing this?
Like
again?
what she's saying over there. Thank you for coming and inspiring us. What do you want to say to the group to be complete around this idea of your soul being on fire and the alignment that it creates? Because I just love that idea.
Absolutely. It's a great question. So, and firstly, thanks for having me here. I'll go off camera because I love Thach and I want to listen to him while I'm solving my car battery challenge. That's the whole other thing. The world is changing. And I had this conversation with my husband today. So Mark Zuckerberg is investing, and I'd love to come back and talk about this stuff, but he's investing heavily in the metaverse. The metaverse is an alt universe where people go and they show up in a way that they want to show up. So if they're super conservative, but their metaverse avatar has purple hair, or maybe they're super scrawny and their metaverse avatar has these muscles. And there's actually a new show. I just saw an ad for it, After the Masked Singer, where you've got singers showing up on stage as their avatar. We're going into a world where people will escape into a metaverse to be someone who they're not. If you want to be in alignment, work with Matthew and Kristen. That's the first thing. If I was going to hire a coach right now, I'd hire Matthew, but he's not taking clients. So that's not, yeah. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. But
there was a little bit like, damn you.
Yeah, there was, but I trust you and I love you, your family. So that's the piece. But the thing I want to say is, don't think you have to escape into a metaverse to be your ideal self. Just make a decision to start. And anytime we make a decision, we put that line in the sand. It's amazing how the world begins to conspire to help to shape us into that person. And for the person who's addicted to achievement, or the person who's got the quota, or the person who's feeling trapped, this is the most valuable real estate you have. This is your own metaverse, and you can choose to go into yourself and become the best iteration of you and put that out to the world. So that's what I wanted to say.
Hot damn, lady. Well, I am so grateful that you came to spend some time with us in our community, and that you invited people from your community to be a part of the thing that we're doing. Thank you for that. We have Thach coming on 3 minutes ago in Thach land. I don't know if he's there. So Kristen, maybe you
hit him
could.
up.
Yeah, you
We
hit
do
him
have
up
one
on
more
text.
question for Susan, if we can sneak it in from Danielle.
Sneak it.
All right. I've worked for 20 years building a persona and an industry and a reputation. I've hit a place in life that doesn't serve my soul anymore, and I started to pivot. 1, I'm being guilted into continuing, and 2, I feel like walking away from over 20 years of hard work is stupid. How can I let it go so I can move forward?
Oh, I love this question. And hey, Thach, I know you're here, so let me answer it super quick. So I was reading Diane von Furstenberg's biography many years ago. And one of the things for her was she kept asking her this question: am I living into the woman that I've always wanted to be? So I'm going to give you a quick coaching exercise. So what I want you to do, down the center part of the page, I want you on the right-hand side to write down all of the characteristics and qualities of the person you want to be. And then on the left-hand side, I want you to write down all of the characteristics and qualities of the person you are. And then take a look and see, this is the topic we're talking about, is alignment. So is there alignment with some of these qualities? And what are the qualities of this current existence that you must divorce in order to set yourself free, to allow you to live fully into this other person? And the thing I'll tell you is, in 2018, when I co-founded Radius, for me, there was this part of me that I wasn't living into my authentic self, which is very techie, very geeky, and I love it. And what happened to me, Danielle, is as I started to live into that authentic self and make some choices, even though not everyone understood those choices, it actually helped me show up as a better human in my other roles, as a sales leader, as a mother, as a wife. I mean, Chris and I were narrowly divorced a couple times, but man, oh man, when I started living into my authentic self, it was like our marriage got supercharged and I got supercharged. And that is what I want for you. And by all means, follow me on Instagram at Susan Sly. You can DM me, ask questions, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I answer questions just like this on Raw and Real Entrepreneurship, and join the mastermind. So with that, I'm going to hang out and listen to Thach, because I haven't seen Thach in like years. And there he is.
Wow.
Good morning from Vietnam, baby.
Or good afternoon from Seattle, wherever
That's right.
you might be.
You're right.
All right, well, let me bring you in, Thach, and I just want to say this.
Before we jump,
here's the deal, everybody. First of all, if you have a question for Thach, you need to email it in right now, mferry@matthewferry.com, mferry@matthewferry.com. That was Susan, who just completed. She's going to stay and hang out with us for a while. Thach is on now. We have Jamil coming up in a half hour. Then we have Karen Coffey coming up in an hour. Thach and I have been masterminding together for the better part of 2 decades. He began as a coaching client, as did so many of the people that you're going to talk to here on our Coach-A-thon. But he is, like Susan, a guru, a thought leader in his own right. And I am so excited to have someone who is, in a similar way to Susan, living the dream. Like, he lives his most cherished dream. He lives from an enlightened perspective. And my God, he's killing it as a man who's comes from a pretty tragic background as a refugee from Vietnam, but I'll let him tell those stories if he wants to. Thach, you just want to give like the 10-second bio intro on yourself, and then we're just going to jump in and start asking you questions.
Yes. So I was born in Vietnam in 1970. My dad worked for the U.S. military, and he got a phone call from his boss, said that the communists had taken over South Vietnam in 1975. We packed up one suitcase and $100, and 8 of us left Vietnam on the last plane out of Vietnam. We landed over here in Seattle, and I started life in Seattle, basically from zero. And I went to school, and when I graduated from high school in '88, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I finished college in '91, and I decided to get into real estate. And I started real estate at 21 years old in 1991. I met Matthew and his dad, Mike Ferry, and we started the journey of selling real estate. And then in 1996, I met a real estate mentor that taught me how to own real estate. And today I sell real estate, I invest in real estate, and I coach people how to dream big. And basically, if anything is possible. That's my bio.
You are anything's possible as incarnate. And so I want to just start with this idea, Thach, and I'm going to ask my own question to begin, and then Kristen, if you would just jump into the email and chat and see what we got going on here. One of the things that you and I did a couple of events last week, and when we did, you had a moment where you broke down into tears, and you couldn't even talk.
Right.
And you had a reawakening, a reemergence into the ultimate state that you and I seek on a regular basis. Can you just describe what happened there to our crew, and then we'll jump in with a question?
So, I have been doing a lot of real estate investing, and I've been very successful at real estate investing. And then about a year ago, I started getting onto social media. I started in January in 2020 with 0 follower on Instagram and 0 follower on TikTok. 1 year later today, we are at 1.1 million in follow on TikTok and almost 600,000 follower now on Instagram. And I have been so, focused on continuing to grow that profile, that whole platform to 2 million follower. And I've been so focused on it. And I've been in breakdown because I've been so attached to wanting to grow this thing at my pace.
Yep.
And what I noticed is that I was so frustrated that every time I made a video in the last 30 days, it hasn't gone viral. And the followers have been growing very slow. And I've been so bent out of shape on this whole thing. It's so frustrating. I don't understand. And it's affecting my manifestation on finding deal to buy. And what I realized when Matt and I was talking is that I have been committed on growing the Instagram so that I can say to people, I'm finally an influencer. When I hit 2 million followers, I am finally gonna be an influencer. And I remember saying, when I hit 100,000 followers, I'll finally be an influencer. And then I said, when I hit 500,000 followers, I'll finally, now I'm at that place where I say, when I hit 2 million followers, and I noticed this when Matt and I was talking, that I've been chasing after the Instagram follower, just I've been chasing after millions in the past, that I'm still not successful enough.
Yep.
I'm still not good enough. I'm still not there yet. When I hit 2 million, I'm finally gonna say I'm successful and I'm significant.
And what is your most cherished experience?
When I really get honest, my deepest is being inspired and empowered, or inspiring and empowering others.
Hell yeah.
And when I'm in the place of feeling not enough, that I'm not living my high true self, which is, it doesn't matter how many videos I make, you guys, but when I'm not in the space of inspiration, it doesn't matter how good the video is, it just doesn't go viral. And really, I thought about this the other day, Matthew. When the video goes viral, it's an indicator that I'm in alignment.
Yep.
And that,
hey, Susan said it like this, Thach. I don't know if you were listening, but she said, when my soul's on fire,
right,
I can do anything. And when your soul is on fire, when you're connected to your most cherished experience, it's bananas what happens. We're so attracted to who you are, and everything just flows. We're cutting into his question answering time, and I know people have already submitted questions. Please ask them. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted, muted, muted. Here she comes. Hey, I'm going to switch the view. I'm going to switch the view to speaker view for everybody and see what happens with that.
All right, cool.
I just switched it now. And then I'm going to switch it to that view here for, oh, wow, that's cool. Oh my God, look at that.
I didn't change at all. So you must be over there like just playing with the.
I am. I'm just, I'm playing with myself.
All right, cool. Well, I have so much to say about what Thach just said, but I'm going to zip my lip and have this question getting answered. So clearly this is someone who was on the Enlightened Goal Setting workshop that we did, that Matthew and you did. Thach, here's the question. I really want the goal. I really want that new car.
right.
I really want to go on a big new vacation. Are you telling me not to go after those things and to go after my feelings instead? What is, like, they're confused. How do you shore up the actual things that they want versus, as Matthew calls it, that most cherished experience that you have with being empowering and being inspiring?
Let me say it like this. Have you ever been in a situation where you had good news? And when you're in a good mood, every signal light you run into, it's always been green light.
Yeah.
When you're in a pissy off mood, every light you hit is a red light. So the most important thing is you have to be grateful, appreciative with where you at as you're on your journey going after your dream car, your dream job. And that's how you actually attract it at a rapid speed. But when you're in a pissy ass mood, it don't matter how fast you go, you still catch red light. And red light represent your car, your goals, your dreams. So the key is to master being grateful and appreciative in the now, as you're going out there finding your perfect mate, as you're going out there finding your perfect job, your perfect car, your income, and everything else. That is back with what everybody's been saying. Everybody's saying, let me find my perfect mate, then I'll be happy. And what Matthew is saying is, Learn to be happy and grateful and loving to yourself now as you go out there and go find your perfect mate. Bam!
Bam, baby. And the truth is, Thach, like in the mastermind and in all the things that you and I've done together in the past, like we don't really serve the person who just wants to go be happy and peaceful and, you know, like skipping the flowers and whatnot. That's not our person, right? Our person is like, I want the car, I want the plane, I want the killer house, but my God, does it have to be such a nightmare getting there? And the answer is no, it doesn't. Kristen, next question.
Well, really quickly, we had someone ask, how do I find out about the mastermind? So could you just answer that real quick?
So simple. Well, Kristen, can you just put it into the chat?
Oh, yeah.
But if you just go to MatthewFerry.com, it's the top link. So it's mastermind is now open, MatthewFerry.com, and you get yourself in. And then Kristen, maybe before you put that in, let's ask Thach the next question.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, let me jump screens. Okay, Thach, can you clarify the difference between motivation and inspiration?
Yes. Motivation is external and inspiration is internal. Motivation is, I hate freaking prospecting, go find business. I gotta motivate myself. I'm gonna go buy this car so I can motivate myself so I can go out there and make more money. Inspiration is you find something that really deepens. For example, for me, when I was coming up, I wanted to retire my mom and dad. So my inspiration was to actually help my mom and dad retire and replace their income by me making the money so I can just pay them so they can stay home. So that was deep for me. So every day I get up, I would think about the essence, what Matthew talked about, which is giving my mom and dad the freedom when they came over to Vietnam and worked for us. Now, my vision and my goal was to get connected to that experience of seeing my mom and dad retire. And every day as I am connected to that experience, I have no problem going out there and prospect and door knock and climb the mountain, swim across the ocean, because my experience seeing my mom and dad retiring is a blessing for me. So I don't have to struggle. It's an inspiration for me to do that. That's the difference.
Woo-hoo. Yes. All right, what do you got, Kristen?
This looks like someone who's interested in mastermind, but they want to get Thach's 2 cents on it. So they're saying, I've signed up for these kinds of programs in the past, and I always seem to find a way that I get behind, not complete it, or I lose focus. This might be for both of you guys. It's just the question.
I'm going to say this. I'll let Matthew say it. It doesn't matter you sign up for Matthew's program or any other program. Here's how I'm going to answer it. If you're 100% committed, not being interested, committed is when you will do what it takes to get the results we want in your life. Being interested is doing something only when it's convenient for yourself. So if you are committed and you're willing to take action every single day, you can't lose, especially if you got Matthew coaching you. Look, if I have Matthew Ferry coaching you, ain't no other question for that, okay? Period.
Mic drop. Doink.
Mic drop. Yeah, and listen, exactly. I'm not even saying that, all right, to show Matthew Ferry's ego any bit, because I'm going to tell you, I'm a very high achiever. Very, very high achiever. Look, I got $100,000 a month in positive cash flow. You guys. It cost me to live $30,000 a month to live. In my passive income only, it covered my expenses, not including my active income, which is $5 million a year. The biggest thing I get hooked up on is I'm not successful enough to hit 2 million followers. And 2 million followers is no different than saying, right, I'm not successful to hit 10 million or 200,000, because we all can get hooked up in that. Meaning, let me get to that and then I'll be successful. And that's the thing with high achiever. They don't even see when they're getting that hooked. And that's the thing that Matthew always basically get me out, because I get caught up sometimes.
We all get caught up, including me, including Kristen, including Susan, including everybody. So I'll just say it in this way. The question was really like, I sign up for stuff and then it falls apart, and I don't go all the way. The group that we have assembled honors and acknowledges the kind of human being that you are. And it's a group that really is taking on what both Thach and Susan are talking about, which is being a contribution, being of service, being a supporter to the other people in your life. And so the way when you come into the mastermind, you're really enveloped in sort of something you've never experienced before. Total and complete acceptance of where you are. If you are in shithead mode, total and complete acceptance of you in shithead mode. If you're angry and upset and you're resisting and you don't want to do stuff, total and complete acceptance of that. So there's nothing to run away from, because the group is just like, oh, wow, yeah, been there. Been there, bro. Come on. Been there, sister. Let's do this. And you'll find that it's just a group of people like you who are committed to hanging around other people who can support you and them in staying in the best possible place. Let's get back to Thach. What do you got, Kristen?
All right, back to Thach. Well, I've got somebody who might have been on earlier when we were talking a little bit about all is well. That must have been on the webinar that you guys did together. Okay. So the question is, I think it's extremely unrealistic and maybe a little selfish to look out to the world and say all is well. How do I integrate this all is well idea when I see the world on fire, like like things are not going well out there? How do you deal with that, Thach? How do you stay in a focused state on what's important to you when it seems like there's all this chaos and drama and like really bad things happening in the world?
I think that's a good question. Matthew explained this super well the other day on the webinar. Why don't you share your thoughts on that, Matthew? And I'll share mine, because you explained that very well. Somebody asked that question on one of the webinar you and I did the other day.
He's passing it over.
Yeah.
All is well is a contextual framework. It's not a truth or a reality. And the objective is not to ignore things that aren't working. The objective is to be so hyper present that you can bring your A game, your resourcefulness, your creativity, and your personal power into whatever it is that is important to you. The objective of connecting with enlightenment, the enlightened context, which is essentially that all is well, is really something that you do so that if in fact you want to make changes in the world because you think the world's on fire, for example, then you can do that and not destroy yourself in the process. You can do that in full consciousness and not out of reaction. Thach, what do you say about this?
Here's how I answer it. Okay, for me, you guys, this is my thing. I can't control the external world. I only can control the internal world.
Mm-hmm.
I only control my energy, my surrounding, and then I hope that how I control my inner world well, that I can be a lighthouse for many people in the world. So for me, I know the world out there ain't perfect, but I can definitely make sure in my internal world, I can have peace, I can have inspiration, I can have empowerment. And so that's one of the things that I love with Matthew helping me, is always getting these disempowering conversation that's happening inside my brain, so that when I can clear some of that, then I can be a bright light. And my vision in the world is to clear all the different disempowering thoughts and energy out of me, so that I can just shine bright into the world. So my job to be on the beach and shine bright into the ocean. And I tell the people, if you need a light, then come see me, because I am here at shore, come. So all the people out there on the boat, you can see me, then come to the light. So my job is just to make sure I'm clear, so my light shine bright into the world, and whoever's suffering out there, come to the light, then we will help you. That's my job.
Woo
wow.
Fucking who. Yes.
I absolutely love it.
Yep,
I think that is so cool. I just want to touch on something that Thach, I think you did such a good job of articulating, which is, here I am, like, you've made it financially, dude. And I know your story well, because I will let everybody who's here know you're actually the reason I met Matthew.
That's right.
So Susan will appreciate this. I was at an absolute low in my life. Like, I was scraping on the freaking bottom. It was November of 2008. And I got an email from you, and I don't even know how I got on your email list. And you said, I'm doing this thing. I'm looking for people to volunteer. And I am so low. I said to myself, I have to contribute to somebody else because I am so in my head and I am so scared. I was losing a business at the time. It was really dark, dark. I'm just going to say it like that. And I remember I showed up at your real estate office in Mercer Island on a Wednesday night, raining in Seattle. And I just said, how can I contribute to what this guy's got going on? Mm-hmm. Fast forward, I met Matthew in January of 2009. We started working together. The three of us wrote a book with Mark, on and on and on. And I give you the context only because that I've watched you go through this process of goal setting and moving the target for yourself so many times.
So many times. And
really wrestle with, I thought I would make it at 100,000 followers. And then I had moved it to 500,000, and then I moved it to 1 million. And I just want you to share with the people who are here today that this thing about being a high achiever and constantly A, moving the goal, and then B, making peace with ourselves through our skills to be at peace and to be connected to our most cherished experience while we continue to set the bar higher and higher and higher for ourselves. Will you just give us a glimpse into your experience with that phenomenon as a leader and as someone who's still in it? Like last week, you're wrestling with the breakdown of where the hell is my 2 million followers? And yet that's a goal that you invented.
You made it up.
You made it up.
Made it up.
Would you just tell people like how present that phenomenon is and how you continually just go at it and tackle it?
The thing is, you guys, we can't even stop. We can't even stop having more desire every day. Be honest with you, right now, I'm 51 years old. My goal for the next 9 years, which is by the time I'm 60, is to pay off all my rental property, which would bring me about $250,000 a month in positive cash flow. That's a big goal, right? And so I got big goals. As I moving forward on this goal, the thing that I got to remember is this balance. I got to be appreciative and I got to be grateful for where I'm at as I am eager for more. Mm-hmm. That is the balance in this whole thing, right? And when Matthew and I talked the other day, and he really had me seeing that you are forgetting, my friend, being grateful for where you at. You are only focusing on eager for more, right? And then there's people that only are grateful for where they're at, and then they don't allow themselves, Matthew, to be eager for more.
Yeah, because they're afraid they're going to lose.
Right? Yeah. So there's a balance. So for me, you guys, I'm on this journey, and I know it's natural to actually keep on having high desire, move to the next level. But the whole thing for me, especially high achiever, is to really master being grateful for where you're at. Matthew and I, we do this thing called GEM. We text each other every day. Grateful, being grateful, right? The experience we want to have, what we want to manifest. And every day I got to remind myself consciously, what am I grateful for right now in my life? And what I want to do every day, practice every day, I want to be present to what I'm grateful for every day in my life. Like I'm already whole and complete. I don't need nothing else. If I can stay for that space and then ask for more, it will manifest at a rapid speed. That's the power of what I'm practicing on every day.
Oh yeah.
It's not even about, my goal tomorrow. For me, it's about practicing being present, being grateful where I'm at right now, and just see everything in my life as already whole and complete. Just like my social media, I'm already whole and complete. And when Matthew and I had this talk the other day, literally it's only been 3 days. Every video I dropped in the last 3 days have hit close to 500,000 views already.
Whoop, whoop.
That's to show you how crazy it is.
Yeah. Mic drop. Really, really crazy. Yeah, exactly. Well, Thach, I want to say this. We have Jamil coming in here in, T minus 45 seconds or so. So we'll bring him in. Love that Susan is still here hanging out, listening to what we got to say. I want to just complete with this idea. There are people out there who think I have to be successful first. Then I'm going to have all the experiences that I want. And can you just speak to that, and then we'll bring Jamil into this process. I have to be successful first, and then I'm going to finally feel it. Oh, he's getting his whiteboard, ladies and gentlemen. We got something coming. What's it going to be?
Oh, all right, here we go. And Jamil's on with us.
This is going to be backwards, okay? So this is going to be backward, but at least
it's the right way.
Okay.
Yep.
This is what I used to do, and this is what Matthew and I call grinding. I used to say, this is me. I'm going to do what it takes so I can be a millionaire, so I can finally be successful. That works. I was successful for many years, but I was grinding it out and always unfulfilled. What I learned from Matthew is learn to be successful and significant and grateful now as you go out there and do what it takes to be, the action it takes to do this, so I can finally, so you can have the millions. This is what we call being in alignment. This is the real creation, be, do, have. Everybody live, do, have, be. This is the grind way. This is the align way. Be grateful where you at, do the activity, you will manifest the stuff you want in a rapid speed. We call that align, we call that grind. Okay?
Hot damn, dude. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And you can see for our participants that the theme is so clear. Susan said, what makes your soul on fire? Thach is like, get into alignment, get into a place where you are grateful and appreciating what you have now, and then go do all the stuff you're going to do. It's never going to stop. It's just going to continue on. Thach, thank you for being here. We're going to bring Jamil in now. We are on a friggin' marathon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for staying with us and being a part of the process. I am psyched at all the people who are here. And Thach, hang around if you want. Go do your next thing if you want. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for being here, buddy.
All right, you guys have an awesome day. What up, Jamil?
Before you go, bro, I love you so much, Thach. You are the best, bro. You are the best. You're literally the most motivating guy I have ever seen on the internet, man. Like legit, I wake up, I watch your videos, and I get a smile on my face and I'm inspired. Dude, you rock.
Thank you, bro. Look, you guys, I'm going to tell you again. My job is to be the lighthouse on the beach and shine my light bright into the ocean. Whoever out there suffering, they come to the light. Myself, Matthew, Jamil, Kristen, Susan, all of us are light in the world, folks. So if you are suffering and you're in breakdown and you want to dream big, come to the light, then we can actually help you. Okay?
And
yeah, baby.
Peace out. I love you guys. Have an awesome day.
Love you, bro.
Hi, Thach. Woohoo!
Peace out, brother. Thanks for being here. Well, I want to bring in our next incredible guest, incredible man, Jamil Damji. Now, Jamil is one of those people that he's, well, I guess it's just a theme, right? If we look at Susan, we look at Thach, and now we look at Jamil, basically, these are multifaceted people. Jamil has built this incredible company, Keegly. He has this incredible training program that is taking the world by storm, teaching them how to get real estate, fix it up, flip it, make money. He's got successful books. He's got successful training programs. But the latest thing that he's doing is his TV show. Am I allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, finally.
Okay.
Yesterday was the first day that I was legally allowed. Not that I haven't done it, but the first time that I was actually talked about the TV show and not received an email from A&E's legal department telling me to stop. So
yes,
it's awesome.
I got it. Well, Jamil, listen, I mean, my experience of you is very different than what most people experience. Can you just give us, because we now have more people joining in to hear what you have to say. Can you just give us a quick and dirty, your background bio, and then we're going to jump in. Let me just say to everybody again, mferry@matthewferry.com, mferry@matthewferry.com. That's where you send your questions, and we are already receiving questions for Jamil. So throw them in. Jamil, give us a quick intro.
What's up, man? Matthew, I love you guys. You guys are incredible. Kristen and Matthew, I came to know these two fine people on my journey of self-discovery. In all honesty, I have been through it. So a little background on me, guys. I got into entrepreneurship in 2002. I actually was in media before. I wasn't in real estate. I had got my start in entrepreneurship, trying to convince business owners that they should take their business online. I was telling them about this thing called the internet that was going to take the world by storm, and they should all move out of the yellow pages onto the internet. And I was trying to sell a $600 website that cost me $700 to make, but it was amazing. It was amazing because every sale I lost money, but it put me in position. It put me in a position where I met some individuals who gave me my first opportunity in real estate. Basically, they were the first buyers I've ever had. And because of being in that situation, I uncovered a business model that had been in operation for years. I thought I invented it, but that's not the truth. I thought I had invented real estate wholesaling, but it had been happening many, 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 many years before me. But what happened was I was eavesdropping on a conversation that my business partner and his father were having about this deal they did where they made $160,000. And meanwhile, I'm sitting there in a company where every time I make a sale, I lose $100. And that's frustrating. So I ask how I can get involved, how I can help, how I can be of any service to these two. And they were very quick to dismiss me because I had no training, no experience, no license, and no money. They couldn't see an in. They couldn't see an in for me. But as I asked more questions and listened more intently, I heard they had a need, and their need was more building lots. And I asked, what are the requirements for these building lots? Their response was they have to be on these R2 zone. For those of you that aren't in real estate, it's residentially zoned where you can put 2 units on a property. They need to be a minimum of 50 feet wide by 120 feet long. And if you can find us a property like this, we'll pay $400,000 for it. The next day I walk my dog. I walked by a for rent by owner. I actually tried to rent this property 3 months prior, but it was $200 a month outside of my budget. And I called because the property was still available. And I asked that homeowner if they'd be interested in selling instead of renting. And the answer was, yeah, if the number was right. And I asked what that would be. She said $350,000. So now I have a $50,000 problem to solve because I can buy something for $350,000 and sell it for $400,000, and I have no way of doing it. So I do what I know how to do best. I go to the yellow pages and I start cold calling lawyers. And in my efforts, I get all the way to the letter S, and an individual by the name of David Steed answered the phone and explained a very simple process, which we all know as wholesaling. And that's how I made my first $50,000 check. And I came from nothing. I mean, I came from a very modest background. My parents were essentially refugees from the 1970 African nationalization situation that happened when the British came, when the British were actually ejected out of Africa. In addition to the British getting kicked out, so were the Indians that were installed in those areas at the time. And my family was a part of that exodus. And so we were refugees in the West, and my parents literally scraped to have, to give us a little bit of an opportunity. And fast forward a few years, I make millions of dollars. 2008 happens and I lose every dime of it. I was doing what Thach was talking about, right? The grind. I was in that grind, and I recognized the symptoms of that grind. It's anxiety, it's being unfulfilled, it's having a fat bank account, but it's having all the other deficiencies in life, like everything from drug addiction to alcoholism to unhappiness to terrible relationships to dishonesty, all of the hidden motives that Matthew discusses in his book. If you haven't had an opportunity to read it, guys, I highly recommend you do. Quiet Mind, Epic Life. That's how I actually found Matthew Ferry. I found him through a Facebook funnel. Okay, guys, that's how he found me. And that's the power of intention, of connection, and how there's no accidents. How there is no accidents, because I didn't come to Matthew through real estate. I didn't know him from friends. I was very interested by the title of his book, and I bought it. And it shows up at my house, and I read this book and I think to myself, I think I finally get it. But now I have so much work to do. And I said to myself, it was really important for me to connect with Matthew on a deeper level, to meet Matthew. And I learned about his mastermind. And I joined it. I joined the Ignite Mastermind immediately, had a conversation with them. I enjoyed that conversation with Matthew and Kristen. It was really good, enlightening, eye-opening for me. And it showed me that I had so much work to do. And I still have so much work to do. It's like the work never ends, but the work just gets more and more fulfilling and rewarding. I'm sorry I spoke for a lot of minutes there, but Matthew,
but that's the more fulfilling and rewarding, Jamil. That's the deal, man. When we met, you were like, I think I'm in the practices. I have it all. I'm living the dream, but where's my fulfillment? Where's my joy, my spark? And the process that we go through is really about getting that spark. What I want to do, Jamil, is I want to go straight to the questions, because people are already emailing questions in, and we didn't even get to all the ones for Thach. So we're just like, let's jump in.
Jump in.
Here we go. Jamil, how do you show up with a goal of adding value and being of service to the people around you without becoming enslaved in the details of that service?
Remove the result. Remove the result. Look, it was something I learned from Matthew again, was that if you focus on the result, then you're still being selfish. You're not in the process. You're not doing anything. You're not adding to anybody, because everything you're doing has the intent of getting this thing, of getting this thing. And if getting this thing is the only thing you're doing anything for, then you're not doing the right thing. You're not really doing what you enjoy. You're not really doing something you're passionate about, because again, you're trying to get out of the doing into the getting, right? And so it's a real thing. I mean, for me, I see my journey in real estate, and I see my journey as what they call a thought leader or influencer in the space. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me what the label is. What I can say though is, it wasn't until I decided to just remove the concept that I will get rewarded for the share, that I will get rewarded for connecting, that I would get rewarded for helping, and just did it for the doing. That's when I got fulfillment out of the actual process. Because here's the thing, guys, get into the details. Fucking love the details.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't you become somewhat entangled in the details? This is life. I want to be entangled in my cup of coffee in the morning.
Exactly right.
Right?
I'm over here jumping up and down for joy. I love it.
Yeah. And you know what Susan said was, when your soul's on fire, you'll do it all. Like you'll just dive into whatever it is. And Thach said, listen, when I am in my state of inspiration and empowerment, and I get to inspire and empower other people, I'll go through I'll go through the grind. I'll do all the things necessary to accomplish the goal, but I'll do it in a state of loving every part of it. And it's not always rosy, right? But you have the skill set to get back there again. Let's go to the next question.
Yeah, this is a really good one. And I think a lot of high achievers deal with this. And it says, I have been saying that I want to accomplish my goals for so long. Everyone knows that I want to achieve that goal. How do I change my mind and not lose my credibility?
Well, I think your credibility right now is again attached to the result. You are still thinking that your credibility is attached to the result, and it's not. Your credibility is attached to the doing. If you wake up every single day and you take action towards your goal, whether or not that goal is reached or achieved today, you're being observed in action of pursuit of the goal. And that in itself is what keeps your credibility. That's what makes all the integrity in the world be on your head, because you are doing it. You get up and you're the embodiment of the do. You're saying, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. And again, it's that whole, there's a quote I got from Matthew that's in my phone, and I read it every single morning, and it's, experience, not achievement, is the prize. Experience, not achievement. That's the prize. So if we're here to experience, right? If your goal is, if the process, if the doing of the thing is where you're going to get the richness, the goal isn't it. And guys, let me tell you this, right? So pre-television show, and actually even before things started popping off in my coaching program or whatnot, I had started the Ignite Mastermind, and Matthew knows some of my very deep seated goals, and I'm gonna talk about one of them. One of them was to have a TV show, and I didn't chase it. I didn't chase it. In fact, there was so much resistance from me about, because I'd spent time in Hollywood. I knew the process. I knew what it was, and I know when I was in the mastermind, I had to have a real moment of truth for myself, because I had to understand, what was it for, right? Why? And I kept deluding myself that it was legacy. I wanted to leave a legacy. That's bullshit. It had nothing to do with legacy. It had to do with me wanting to feel worthwhile, for me wanting to feel worthy. I wanted you all to love me. And what I learned was, even if I got that shine at that time, I wasn't in love with myself. And so how would I have a place where I was loved by others when I'm having an issue loving myself? And I think that when you get to a place where you fall into line with that, where you love every day, you love the way you look, you love your blemishes, you love your edges, all of the things. You love everything about you, even the crazy stuff you do, even the mistakes you make, you just love it. You just love it because there's no one else out there fucking it up like you. Right? When you get there, things happen, and you find ways to raise your own, and this might sound hokey to some folks that are on here, but I truly believe this on a scientific level. We vibrate, and experiences have vibrations to them, and there's high experiences and there's high ways of vibrating. And if you want to attract a high experience, you got to raise the way you vibe. And that's just it. I wasn't ready. I wasn't a vibrational match for any of that. And so it's about that. It's really about figuring out how to tune it in and then tune it up.
Tune it in and tune it up, baby. Yes, Jamil. If you haven't seen Jamil's presence online, it is raw. It's real. He's like, no shirt, wiggling the fat around. He's fucking being himself, fully and completely, fully loving who he is exactly as he is. And it was that shift, that little, whatever that was, I don't know, about 9 months into the mastermind, all of a sudden just like, doink, something happened. And next thing you know, he's just like, fuck it, I'm just going to be fully myself. And when he did, intergalactic in his thought leader, influencer, presence, attracting ability. Incredible. Kristen, what do you got here on the questions?
All right. Well, real quick, Jamil, it looks like we might have one of your students here who says, I'm at week 3 and feeling overwhelmed. Want to do some action steps. Any advice? So I think it's about like, how do I take action? I'm feeling overwhelmed. How do you deal with that?
I think the hardest part, especially when you're learning something new, is the amount of information that's coming at you. And when you put yourself in a new fishbowl, there's new things, there's new environment, there's new obstacles, there's new places to hide, there's new all of it, right? And so the thing that I know for me that works the best is focusing on one task and then getting really good at that one task to a point where I feel like it's become a part of my nature. And then I move on to the next task. And so for whoever it was that sent that question in, I feel that your process should be right now to identify a task from what you looked at in that 3rd week of training that speaks to you, something that you feel won't be climbing a mountain, but more of buying the gym shoes, something that's really attractive to you, something that makes you feel comfortable to do, and get to doing that. do that so well, do that so often that the action becomes very habitual for you, even if it's just a week long. And then next week, move on to another task and continue to add tasks to that entire process, because that's what'll get you the result you're looking for. Right now,
let me add to that, Jamil.
Yes.
Let me jump in and add to that in the context of the Enlightened Goal Setting process. So one of the things that Jamil and I worked on over and over and over and over was actually looking at the tasks that we are, quote, have to do. And we might be overwhelmed or anxious or resistant or angry or feel like a loser or I'm stupid or I can't do it, right? Whatever that is. And then you recontextualize it. What is the experience that I'm actually trying to have here? And you go back to finding the context that brings you into your most cherished experience. Then you apply it to that one thing that Jamil is asking you to do every single day. And so now you're in your most cherished experience, and now you're taking action. Shitty, you suck, you're terrible, you're no good at it, but you are in your most cherished experience, and you just keep doing that until you get good at the thing. But by being in your most cherished experience, your willingness to suck is much higher. And the truth is, in the beginning, you suck. That's just reality.
We all suck.
Yeah.
We all suck. You know, it's interesting. And as I learned and got to really know Matthew, he explained to us his pathway, his trajectory into becoming the guy he is today. And there was so much transparency there. There was such a real share of, hey guys, look, I've been through it. I don't get to be in this spot without having been in the mud. Right. And so that's the thing. Like really, really, really know that the mud is a place for great growth, that you don't flower outside of dirt. You have to be in the dirt first. You got to be in the dirt first. It does. No one gets to skip that step. Nobody gets to skip that step.
Nope. And really, the way we say it in the mastermind is that breakdown is the beginning of breakthrough, and success is just a series of well-managed breakdowns. And you can't manage breakdowns effectively when you're freaked out, pissed off, and angry. You just don't. Kristen, what do you got?
Well, we've got somebody who's wondering about your experience in the mastermind, and I want to tag team onto that, because you said something really interesting, which was sometimes you have to jump into that fishbowl, like that new environment, and you have to kind of figure the whole thing out. And Jamil, one of the things I love about our time together, when you were in our mastermind, you're an alumni member now, but you were one of those guys who you read the book and you jumped in. And for people who are feeling like, geez, I'm just going to expose this Matthew Ferry guy, how do you help people reconcile what I'm hearing, makes sense, but how do I jump into that new environment, trust the process, get the most out of it, and really thrive in a whole new set of conversations? What was it for you that allowed you, A, to make the jump, and then B, what did you get out of it once you did?
Well, the thing I read in the book that I think was a paradigm shift for me in my life was creating the understanding that biologically, I am hardwired to be shit, to be small, to be nothing, to stay safe, to turtle up, to hide, to survive, to be alive long enough that I can make a baby so that my genes flourish into the next generation. That's it. Biologically, that's what it's all geared for. Spiritually, I'm not the meat sack, right? I'm not the meat sack. I'm a being of light, and we all are. Every one of us, no matter how wretched you feel today, you are as divine as Matthew, as anybody, as any ascended master that has graced us on this beautiful earth. You're the same thing. You're the exact same thing with the exact same potential inside you, right? And so my fear was having a life where I didn't transcend that biology, where I didn't get to fully realize what it meant to be a human being. And that's why it made sense to me, because I knew there was fear. The fear of, oh, should I do this? Look, I had that for a minute. Should I do this? Do I have time? Am I just adding something to my plate here that's not, you know, the book was great. Is what was in the book good? Is it just going to be more of the book? I could just read the book. You know, you have this, you get these conversations, and then I think you think to yourself, well, look, first and foremost, I'm in this position in life where being in a mastermind like this doesn't make or break me. Financially, it's okay. I can make this work, right? So I'm in this position. I'm only able to have this conversation because I'm at this point in my life. And I think that most of the folks that are on here listening, watching, you're at this point in life where you don't have to worry about paying for internet because you're on this call. You don't have to worry about having a computer. You're on this call. You've got 99% of the crap that people don't have in other parts of the world. So you're like so far ahead of the situation already. So Kristen, to answer that question, and I'm sorry I'm going in circles, but what I'm saying is I really had to just kill that. I had to kill that that thing I knew was biologically sparked, the fear, that fear. And then again, knowing that I'm either going to love this or I'm going to hate this, but either way, I'm going to do this. And then awesome. I got in, and the first couple of weeks I was like, oh boy, I don't like this.
That's true.
I don't like this.
Yep.
And it's normal. Like, it's like the thing you start to really have to peel back the banana, you know? And that's the thing. That's the thing about it, is like, you truly have to do the work. It's not just about being in the mastermind, reading the book, doing the exercise. You got to do the stuff, you know? And
I am fucking ruthless about you loving your life. I am ruthless about you loving your life.
Yep, that's true.
Hey, I want to just shout it out that we have Karen's going to be jumping on in about 3 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that we honor Jamil's time and honor the people who came on to see him and whatnot. Jamil, this enlightened goal setting process is really about connecting with your most cherished experience and then turning the whole damn thing on its ear. So rather than going out and achieving so that you can finally feel the thing you want to feel, you actually practice feeling what you want to feel now as you go through the steps of achievement, which is, you know, success, failure, up, down, all around, you know, left turn, right turn, you know, get hit smack in the face and achieve. But the entire time you're practicing this state of being in a state of peace and flow, or whatever it is. Everybody has their own version, right? Can you just speak to our group, like give your final thoughts on why that is so important and how it transformed your life?
Man, it is so important because it's that thing whoever wrote being enslaved in the details, man, that's the wrong perspective in being in the details. Legit. You got to be liberated in the details. You know, it's an old Buddhist saying, right? Chop wood, carry water. Love that shit. Love it. Love it. Love the do. Because when you get to the goal, it's not cool. It's not what you thought it was going to be. It never is. It never is. The car isn't as fast. You know, the girl isn't as hot. The boy isn't as hot. The things aren't as fun. The things aren't as shiny. The house isn't as big. You get roof leaks. There's cockroaches, maybe a mouse. These things happen. It's never as good as you think the goal is going to be. It never is. So if we're blinding ourselves through the whole process to get to the goal, then you didn't enjoy the process, and then the goal was shit anyways. So what was the point? What was the point? You might as well just not doing anything. Just hang out in the bed all day long if you can figure out how to do that. Just do that all day. That doesn't sound very good either, does it? So how it changed my life was I finally, for the first time in my life ever, became just impassioned with, oh my God, that was my first breath today. Oh, yes. My nose isn't stuffy. My back doesn't hurt so bad. This is good. All right. I'm enjoying that. Ooh, I get to get up. I get to walk out of my bed now. I'm going to walk to the sink and I'm going to brush my teeth. Like, I'm going to enjoy this. And you start to get all of the things, all the little things in life start to become joyful. Joyful. You start in, I broke my ankle. So you guys, forever who's watching this, I broke my ankle in July of 2020. I fell in the canyon in Malibu, snapped my ankle, and I was writhing in pain, the most painful thing I'd ever experienced. I've broken my neck, I've broken my arm, and my ankle was the worst thing I've ever felt in my life. And in that pain, want to know what I remembered? I'm alive. That's it.
I'm alive. And when you practice your most cherished experience, and, you know, like, come on, everybody, when you're in the mastermind, there's probably, 75 different things that you can take on and practice that bring you into essentially what Jamil is talking about. In the present moment, even in profound states of physical, real life, actual suffering, you can be at peace with the situation, which means you can bring your A game, which means you can bring your resources, your personal power. It's nuts what happens. Jamil, dude, thank you so much for jumping on, for inviting your peeps to come and be a part of the Enlightened Goal Setting COACH-A-THON. We had so many freaking questions that came in. So many people want to understand how to do this. And you bringing your brilliance and your A game was amazing. We had Thach earlier. We had Susan Sly before that. And we got coming up Karen Coffey. So Jamil, thank you, my brother. If you want to stay on, great. If you want to jump off, great. Thanks for being here, man.
Love you guys.
Jamil, thank you. That was absolutely outstanding. Thank you. And thanks for everyone who sent in a question that we didn't get to. We appreciate you greatly.
All right. We got more to do. And we're going to, I think that we got about a half hour before I fall over. And I'm like, by the way, for all of you who have stayed on this whole time, holy shit, you're a trooper. Wow.
Yeah, you are. You're really
you are
awesome.
A trooper. Well, this next guest that we have on is an absolute badass. Absolute badass. Spiritual badass, female entrepreneur badass, badass all around. I'm not going to tell her whole story. I'm just going to let her like riff on a little bit about what she's done. I just want you to know that she's a celebrated female entrepreneur who has built an incredible company. She and I have been together for a long time on our journey through real estate and things like that. But Karen, before we even get started, I'm just going to pass the mic over to you and let you kind of give everyone the quick 411 on who you are.
Oh, thank you so much, Matthew. And hey, Kristen, listen, boy, Jamil, I just loved listening and feeling his energy. And I'm like, whoo, I got to bring my A game after that. That was amazing. So I'm inspired. And guys, again, I'm Karen Coffey. I guess, Matthew and I have been together a long time, and he has seen my life turn upside down. And, I don't know where you're at and what you've been through. We all have stories. We all have pasts and what we call experiences. And when you're going through them, they suck. Oh God, do they suck? And I'm going, Matthew, I'm homeless. I'm a single mother. I lost everything I owned in the downturn of the real estate market in 2008. I am actually in a fetal position in the yard of the house that I'm getting ready to lose. And I lost the family farm that had been in my family for 200 years. And yes, raise my hand. I'm the jackwagon that lost something that had been in my family for 200 years. And so I was just riddled with guilt and shame and failure. I am a failure at marriage. I'm a failure as a mother. I can't feed my child. I'm living in the basements of friends. And it was when I got, what we call surrender, right? Release, just let go of the outcome. When I began to work with, I'd worked with Matthew before. He wasn't the reason I lost everything. No. But it was the things that he taught me it's like, keep your vision in mind. No, you don't have to do anything, but guys, you have this destiny that kind of knocks on your heart of your soul, that you want to do things. It doesn't mean that you will or that you have to, but there was something tapping on my heart that said, keep your vision in mind, keep where you want to go. And I had nothing. I had a moldy suit that I smelled like mothballs because it had mold on it. And I walked into a brokerage. Yes, I was in real estate. And I walked in like I owned the place, because before I did, I took a moment just to breathe in that I'm detached from the outcome. I can only do what I can do. I have a vision of where I want to go. I don't know how to get there. Don't pretend to know how to get there. And I just allowed things to happen. And that was a long, I don't know, that was 2011. I think that was, I was still broke and homeless and all of that. So turn the tables, the years passed, and I've created a multi-million dollar company. And I am proud of that. And let me just tell you, my testimony is your prophecy. So if I have, what that means is if you're here listening to this, it means that there's something in my story that I can impart on you. So I'm glad to be here, and that's pretty much it.
Woo-hoo! Well, for those of you who've been with us the whole time, you can see that my friends and people who like to study the stuff that I like to study are badasses. We have, I'm just going to say it again. I've been saying it the whole time. If you have questions for Karen, mferry@matthewferry.com, mferry@matthewferry.com. They're already coming in, so I want to just jump right in. I'm going to pass it over to Kristen and have her ask some questions. We're focused on enlightened goal setting, but this is from Karen's perspective. So, Kristen, take it away. You're muted. And she's muted. Here she comes. She's unmuting, ladies
There
and
we
gentlemen.
go.
There we go. I was
Okay,
doing a musical interlude.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the interlude. I'm on my laptop today. I'm used to having like huge screens, and I'm jumping windows, everybody. So rock and roll. Let me pull this up because we have a question for Karen, but it's somebody who's been on the call because they want to get your perspective. And my thing just stopped loading. Give me a second, everybody.
That's okay. We'll dance. We'll tap dance.
Yep,
like
exactly right.
All right.
One of the things that Susan said was, what sets your soul on fire?
Yeah.
Which was her, right? Susan's a thought leader in herself, like you, and that was her translation of your most cherished experience. Whereas Thach was saying, guys, you got to be grateful and appreciative for what you have now, which is his variation on this idea of the most cherished experience. And Jamil was like, you gotta love yourself, love the fat, love the shit, love how crappy you are, love the failures you're doing, right? Which was his expression of the most cherished experience. We all have our own variation. Kristen, it looks like you have pulled it up. What do we got? She has to pull up the emails.
Is perfect. So we've been talking about the difference between the traditional goal setting of I want that thing, and enlightened goal setting, I want to have this experience, my most cherished experience. And so here's the question for you. Okay. How do you help somebody like me who's been training themselves for years to set goals the old way to make the transition to setting goals for the experience, the most cherished experience? What they want to get your take on that. How do you do it?
Not Matthew's take, but mine.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, this is hard to do because I'm that high D, the type A personality, driver, goal oriented, right? I got blinders on, don't care about your weekend, don't care about that. I'm just going for it. So what I realized is at a certain point, my health began to fail. And for you, it may be a different ceiling. It may be a different wall. But for me, I hit a wall of, I'm going to die if I don't change the way I operate. Mm-hmm. And I realized through enlightened goal setting that it's all about, there's two things that are super important to me, is freedom and it's experiences. It's not the thing. That's what we're learning today. I'm sure you've heard all about it. We're not going after the car, the house, the husband, this, that, and the other. It's the adventure. Well, ooh, well, that's the other thing. So
That's your deal over there, right? But you see, she's nodding to it. It's the adventure. Keep going.
Yeah, it is the adventure. I'm like, ooh, yeah. So what is the adventure? What is your adventure that you want to go on? Because at the end of the day, those things will not fulfill you. You have a void in you that is as big as Texas. And when you just shoving things in there and it fills up and you still are up to here and you're just like, I'm empty, then what? That's when you realize you've got to make this shift to experiences, to freedom, to adventure, to whatever. Set your soul on fire, like Susan had said. So just really keeping that in mind and going for the experiences. Now, I will tell you, you've got to, Matthew, you will, and Kristen, you will nod. You've got to get rid of the shoulds, of course, but guilt and obligation.
Yeah.
Because it will steal your life away from you. You will feel guilted into doing things you don't want to do. You will feel obligated because of the rules that we have learned to live within a context that we've learned to live in. And when you can get rid of, I should, and I have to, and this is the right thing to do because of my beliefs and how I grew up, then all of a sudden the world becomes your oyster and you're like, oh, I can breathe. I can breathe. And now I can see what really does feed me, what brings me joy. And at the end of the day, that's what all those goals are for. They're just for joy and happiness, really.
Hallelujah.
So well said.
Yes.
Well said. And this is actually sort of a corollary, this next question, because and you're such a perfect example of this, Karen, because you've gone through the entire strata of broke, in the fetal position, losing everything, through creating these extraordinary experiences for yourself into a multi-million dollar business. This person wants to, and now, what if I do want to have the big life with all the money?
Sure.
It doesn't sound like this goal setting system of the enlightened goal setting and having your most cherished experience actually works. So like, can you help shore those two things up?
I can't wait to answer this one. Because you're right. On the surface, it doesn't look like it would work. It'd be like, oh, my experience is to sit on top of, a mountain and meditate. And, it's like, what? I do want the big life. Well, hello. I believe that there is a formula for that. And it is, you have to get out of you and you have to give a shit about other people. You, but you better find something in you to where it's not on the surface. It's not a fake giving back. It's not I want to help people so that I can make millions. It has to come from a place of your heart, your passion. But here's what transformed my financial world was when I started, I know we've all heard of, and I can't stand the word, so I hesitate to say it. In the Bible where it says the tithe, right? The tithe. And I'm like, oh, that is such a manipulation of getting my money. And I read this book and it was called Fields of Gold. And it was about, hey, release 10%. I choose not to call it a tithe. I'm from the real estate space, so I call it a referral fee. I'm giving a referral fee back to the universe is how I did it. And I'm like, I'm not attached. I don't care. I'm giving a referral fee and it's only 10%. It's not like 25% or 30% that you normally pay another agent. And I'm thinking, what would happen if I didn't pay a referral fee to another agent? They would stop sending me business, right? I just put it to the universe and said, hey, if I stop giving my 10%, detach from the outcome, don't care, give it to a house of God, I'm just letting it go. Now, when I made $100, it wasn't hard to get rid of 10. It was not hard to get rid of $10. You make 100,000, you're like, all right, 10,000, not bad. You start making millions and it's a little hard to let go of. You're like, but I'll tell you that something happens within you when you can give at that level without detachment. And I don't know how it works. I don't pretend to know how it works, but I do know this, that you can have the big life because the universe you can't outgive the universe. It just keeps giving and giving and giving. And when you come from this place of, yeah, I want experiences, I want an adventure, but yet you have to, if you want to work for money, you don't have to, but if you choose to, do something that impacts someone's life and do it well and get with somebody that knows how to get you there.
And you want to think about it like this. Really what Karen is talking about is she has a most cherished experience that is in the realm of really giving, really serving. Like serving is like that's a delicious experience for you, right? And everybody has their own variation on that. Kristen, what else did we get in?
Well, this is crazy, but here's the next question. It's just like totally teed up.
All
Karen,
right.
I am considering the mastermind, but I'm concerned that it's going to conflict with my faith.
Oh,
I want to be in the mastermind, but there's like, is there a conflict with faith?
Oh, I'm the perfect person to answer that.
Yes, you are.
How about that? And Matthew's like, yeah, she is. So I come to this mastermind group with a very strong faith. Many people, people have Christianity or whatever the other things are. I don't know. But there is no conflict because we're all speaking the same concept, different words at times. It doesn't offend me when people use bad language. So that's, it's not going to, it's humanity. And I believe that I have to live within the human realm to experience my faith even stronger. But this is an amazing platform and context to actually strengthen your faith and really test it out. Truly, it has been life-changing in that way.
And
So
let me just say something about it.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like this. Jesus, wow.
Super cool.
Whoa, right? Changed the planet.
Yes.
Buddha, holy moly.
Yeah.
Wow. Right? Krishna, Muhammad, whoever, right? Lao Tzu. I don't know who it is that you're into. But what you can count on me for is to be a guy who has gone and investigated and sampled all of that stuff, looking for what are the gems that bring us into a state of joy, love, certainty, confidence, fun, enthusiasm, adventure. How do we just get to that place where the full version of ourself can be dedicated to whatever belief system that you have? So much of our gobbledygook actually stands in the way of our faith. And this is a way of being able to activate it into a whole other realm.
Yeah. And no matter what you're studying, it brings to the surface. It is all about, Jesus was about love and peace and joy. And studying that book has never brought that to me. But, and I say that book, I love that book, the Bible, but there are other things, you bring it to a different level where I'm like, oh, that's what that means in the book, that, oh, I can get to that joy. That's what Jesus meant when he said release or, detach. And it's been beautiful. So it's been a great parallel with it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
it was
Jamil,
controversial question, but I'm glad that we
I am
Yep.
too. It's interesting. Jamil just jumped into the chat and said, as a person of faith, I can say that being in the mastermind will not conflict with your beliefs. So thank you for weighing in on that, Jamil. Okay, let me go back over here. Question. Okay, here we go. I just cannot imagine how I can make the transition from doing everything I need to do to live the life that I want. How do I get it if I only focus on the experience part? My gut reaction is that everything in my life is going to fall apart. Can you help me understand this transition better?
Boy. I don't, I'm not an A student as far as letting go of all of the goals.
We've actually been talking about that struggle between being such a driven person And then also the being state of like experiencing the joy along the way. So anyway, I interrupted. I want to hear your take on it. But you know, we all face it in our own way, Karen. It's crazy.
We do. And I think that I face it, you know, I'm getting better, but I'm not perfect by any means. So, you know, when you say, how do I make that transition? Well, you know, we're either motivated by pain or pleasure. For me, I had so much pain, I didn't have a choice. I had so much pain in my life. I had to change the way I went after things. And so with boldness, doesn't mean you're not going to be bold. It doesn't mean you're not going to have vision of your life 5 years from now, 15 years from now. It's not about smoking dope and hanging out on the back porch. You know, it's just not. So you're going to, I hope that was okay to say.
That's all right, yeah.
We
don't care if you smoke dope if you want, right?
Yeah,
but
there's no rules here.
No judgment.
You're probably a go-getter. I think really what you're saying is you're probably a go-getter, and that transition from a survival base to a thriving base, that transition actually is fairly graceful. Yeah. It's just like we switched the focus.
That's right. You switch the focus and you add more joy, more adventure, more experiences without guilt, without, like I said, without guilt or obligation. The cool thing is that Matthew, now I'm going to tell a story on Matthew here.
Go for it.
Matthew has such a high sense of connectedness or enlightenment that he knows when you're going through some stuff. He knows when you're struggling, when you're up against, you don't tell him. He just knows. And he just kind of comes out of the woodwork sometimes and says, hey, what about this? Or, hey, today's call's for you. Hey. And I'm like, how does he know this stuff? It's because he's so connected to something that I need that I don't have yet. Doesn't make him better than us or me or anything like that. But there is a gift that he has been given that I so lean on, and that is his connection with something higher that he delivers to me, and he knows that I need in the moment I need it. So I know that doesn't have much to do with that question, but I think it's important that people know. The reality of this mastermind is it's bringing to a place of more enjoyment, happiness, more financial prosperity in all levels of your life. But there's something special about it that Matthew and Kristen both bring. And
thank you.
Yeah, they know where you're at.
Thank
you.
And
I also think that it's important to point to that I have no qualms with calling you to the carpet on your bullshit.
Right.
And I have no qualms about it.
That might be an understatement.
Yeah. And the reason being is I have been through these transformations so many times that I can see the patterns as they are emerging. It's like, hey, Karen, in about 4 steps, we're going to run into this thing here. And I think you'd be much better off just to go left instead of right.
Yes. And this just
sometimes,
happened last month. So.
Sometimes I got to wrestle you to the ground.
Yeah.
In order to get you to hear it.
Tackle, right. Because I run, I hide. Like most of you may have a pattern of running or hiding, and you're like, well, this is going to be like something else I've done before. And no, this is nothing you've ever done before. And they don't allow you to, they don't give up on you. They don't allow you to give up on you.
It's too, the give, and you will give up on yourself.
You will.
1000% you will, because that's what we all do. But to me, I'm so undeterred by that. Like, that's like, of course you're giving up on yourself. That's what we all do. Like, come on, let's go. Kristen, what other questions do we have?
One more, and it's about the mastermind, but it says this, and this, I haven't heard this yet today, so I thought this was kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. This person says, I keep my real desires to myself because I know my friends and my family will think I've lost it.
Oh shit.
Or they're going to think I'm a failure. I might lose everything important to me in my life. How does the mastermind address this?
Yeah. So it's so important that you find your authentic self and learn how to live it amongst other humans. What you're putting out in front of you is maybe what you might call plastic me. plastic me is I'm in this box. I'm married. I have 3 children. I have this and I do that and I PTA and whatever. And behind is the real you with the secret desires. And what happens is we know that every physical ailment starts with a spiritual misalignment. And if it goes on for very long, you're going to have such a spiritual misalignment that it will manifest. And it will manifest in ways that are not very, very pleasing. And you may have noticed this already. You may have noticed that anxiety, depression, diabetes, just inflammation in your body, just inflammation. And you've got the mastermind. Let me tell you, every week, it just puts you right back into alignment so that you can be your true self. Just a quick story. I've had diabetes for 10 years. I'm not saying that Matthew cured diabetes, but my blood sugar, it went from the 260s down to the 130s just by moving into alignment with my authentic self. So I think that's a hugely important question.
Outstanding. Okay, we've got a couple people that are over here in the Q&A. One of these questions is for Jamil. Jamil, do you have a morning routine? What does that look like? Would you throw some of the information in the chat, Jamil, if you got a chance? And then Karen.
Yeah. And then you can also just jump back in on video.
Yeah,
but go ahead. Let's go to the one to Karen, and then we'll get Jamil in here for some morning routine.
Sounds good.
And George is asking Karen, what's the best way to connect with you?
Oh, you can just email us at Karen@KarenCoffey.com or go to the website, KarenCoffey.com. And coffee is with a Y, Coffey.
I got it fixed, by the way. So it's
yes. It's good.
It's like coffee. I knew Matthew put it in there because I knew it because it was spelled wrong. I was like, I know. Yeah.
Coffee. I will tell you, I do have a standard line. Spelling is for dicks.
Yeah. Exactly right. Okay.
I don't spell. Jamil, you want to get in there and talk about your morning routine? We don't know if you're still there or not. Here he is.
He is. He's right there.
I've been watching Karen. I love her. I love you, Karen. You're so fun.
You and I are like, we're brothers and sisters.
Yes, I got to connect with you. Thoroughly enjoyed listening to your story. Everything that you had to share was on point. You're fabulous.
Awesome.
My morning routine is it's the same thing I do every single day. And I had to become non-negotiable with my morning routine in order for me to be able to have an optimized life. And so first things first, I wake up, I drink 1 liter of water. I drink a full liter of water. That then gets the entire plumbing system going. That all takes place. Sorry, guys, I'm getting graphic here, but it is what it is. Then it's an hour of exercise. Once and I haven't said coffee yet. I do an hour of exercise. And then after that hour of exercise is 30 minutes of meditation because I don't drink coffee before I meditate because I don't want the elevated heart rate. I want my systems to be as natural as possible. That means lubricated with the water, highly vascularized from the exercise, and then to just sit in that place. Once that's done, I spend 30 minutes or an hour, if we have it, with my wife. And that's when I drink my coffee. And that is how I start every single day. Every single day.
Woo-hoo.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. Well done. Thank you for sharing that, Jamil. Kristen, what else do we have in the chat? Where I'm kind of coming to the limit of my physical capacity here for 3 hours. I am shocked at how many people have stayed with us. Thank you. Karen, don't go away. I want to say a couple things here. So here she is. She's back. First of all, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being authentic and raw. Thank you for being a leader of women specifically. We, as a society, we are in great need of powerful, self-realized, self-expressed women who are willing to share about the shit that they go through and how they're overcoming it and inspiring other women to do the same thing. And I just want you to know I'm so proud to be your friend, and thank you for being a part of our mastermind and being in the group. You're such a special person.
Thank you. I love it. Love you guys. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Well, Kristen, do we have any final questions before we wrap it up?
I think I got it all. We've got them kind of flying around, but I think I've got every single person. We had a gentleman who's actually dropped off that had a question, but I think we got to it in the
Cool.
conversation.
Good.
Email is clear. It looks like the Q&A, I think I got everybody. So, whoo!
Dun, dun,
3
dun.
hours. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Well,
Enlightened
again,
goal
my
setting.
friends, if you haven't checked out being a part of the mastermind, now's the time to do it. We're going to be closing it down, closing down our applications, our participation on the 30th. So you got some time to stick some time on my calendar if you want to be a part of it and talk to me and get yourself in. Let's do that. In the meantime, thank you for giving us these precious hours. Wow. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm so, so stoked that you guys participated in this process with us of Enlightened Goal Setting COACH-A-THON. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Thach. Thank you, Jamil. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Kristen. And thank you, me.
And Susan and Thach. Did you get them in there?
Yeah, Susan, Thach, Jamil,
right.
Karen, Kristen.
Sorry, I was reading what Craig
Yeah.
wrote, dude and duet. We've never been dude and duet before.
Dude and dudettes.
Karen
That's
says, just do it. Tom, you're so welcome. Jamil, thanks for being here. Marika, like everybody, thanks for your comments. Thanks for your private direct messages. Thanks for all the participation in the background. This has been really, really, really cool. If you are curious about the mastermind, I put the link in there a couple of times. You can go to lidfudfree.com. It's kind of a short link that gets you there. Matthew is offering a complimentary discovery call. If you want to learn more about what this is about, what Karen's been talking, what everybody's been talking about, and what the Ignite Mastermind really is. And so if you're curious and you feel like this might be that fishbowl that you want to jump into that Jamil was talking about, highly recommend that you go over and get some time on Matthew's calendar.
livefudfree.com, ladies and gentlemen. All right, have a good one. We're going to have some food now. Kick back, go play with Lucas and hang out. All right, talk to you all soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody.